Section 219, which is going to start commingling our military supply chains and technology with Israel.
The proposal to have a merging of some sort between our Pentagon and your military?
Yeah, I'm calling it from aid to partnership.
It certainly brings up some issues of sovereignty, but we'll have to work that out later. Thank you so much, Prime Minister. We appreciate you joining us.
Issues of sovereignty, but we'll just have to work out our sovereignty later here on Fox News. Anyway, the NDAA bill passed through the House. A lot of interesting stuff. I saw Lauren Boebert came on Twitter and she said, "Oh no, you don't understand. Pete Hegseth said it's going to get taken out of the Senate." Maybe that's true. What does Pete Hegseth have to do with the Senate? He's the Department of Alcohol, like secretary or something. I mean, the Department of War. My bad. Typo. Anyway, I got a lot to say about this. I was ranting to myself on Instagram and I was like, why am I doing this? I should just go live and get it all out on YouTube, Facebook, and everything. So that's what I'm going to do. Dreamer podcast starts now. Late night edition, emergency edition. You know, they brought back Prime Anomaly for this one. So I'm locked in.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? This is not a sponsor, but I'm just taking like a little health shot because it's a late night. I've been talking for hours and stuff, so my voice is a little groggy, but you know it's Prime Anomaly when we're locked in with a little health shot. Let me see what this is. We got organic ginger, organic lemon, organic orange, organic beet. If it's not organic, I just throw it on the ground and throw a fit. So let's lock in. That's fresh. That's as fresh as I can get. I'm sure there's fresher out there. But anyway, you know, I was like I said, I was like ranting in Instagram stories and it kept kicking me off. And I was like, I guess I have a lot of energy and passion about this, so I might as well just go live. The NDAA passed in the House today. It has language in it that obviously people that defend it will try to say, oh, it's really not that bad. It's not that big of a deal. But it merges parts of our Pentagon, supply chain, military, secrets of some sort, possibly. You know, it's not really clear. It's like when they pass an anti-Semitism speech rule, and it's like it's not a speech law. It's just a special speech thing that we're passing in order to make hate speech for one race, one religion, and one foreign nation, but we don't believe in hate speech, but we're going to pass this hate speech bill. You know, it's like the same BS and rhetoric, except this one's way deeper. It will integrate our technology, our supply chains, and traditionally, even if you're an ally with Ukraine or Israel or Britain or Canada, you're not trying to give them access to everything that we're doing. You're trying to help them when we want to and then cut them off when we want to and be a sovereign nation. Even Fox News, I played that clip at the beginning. Maybe I'll play it later. Even they admitted that it was a problem of our sovereignty. And you know, if Zionist slop Fox News is admitting that, you know, it's got to be pretty bad, because if it weren't even close to that, Fox News would probably be just doing even worse. So if even Fox News is saying that it's doing that, you know, it's much worse than that. And when you have this linguistic wording in there where it's like, it could do this, that, this, and that, it's a disaster. Everybody that you would want to trust, like a Ron Paul, is telling you that this could be one of the worst things for our sovereignty. It passed in the House. And here's why I'm here today. You guys know this. You know, I'm trying to stay calm because, you know, I'm trying to keep my blood pressure low and just be a healthy guy. But in general, I came to this conclusion, and this is my message to the GOP. This is my message. I know there's people that follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, whatever. You know, I'm not that important, but I'm sure some people will see this that are in Congress. If you pass this in the Senate, it gets back to the House and it passes. I know it might not, but it probably will. I think the chances are like 70, 80% for this to pass. If this is the best the Republican Party can do, is we can't even keep our sovereignty. Like, I know that the Republican Party deep throats Israel like hard, like they have to do it like 50 times a year. And it's like, okay, you know, I don't want to watch that, but I get that you do that. Can you keep it to 50? And they're like, yeah, we'll keep it to like 50 times a year. And then it's like 100 times a year. And it's like, can you keep it to 100 times a year? And then it's 200 times a year. And then it's every day. And then it's speech laws. And then it's the war that they said they weren't going to start. And then it's our sovereignty. Okay, dude, you've been sucking them off enough. You know what I'm saying? If you can't even keep the United States sovereignty and our military supply chains, our Pentagon, all of that sort of stuff and all of that sort of rhetoric out of the way, they're running this op. It's so funny too, because I heard Netanyahu for months now being like, "Oh, we don't want foreign aid anymore," and I was like, "There's got to be something like there's got to be something up, because he's not just going to be like, I don't want the money." And then he says in this clip, I might as well play it again. We want to go from aid to partnership. Aid is when we take money from you. Partnership is something deeper. Let's listen to the clip again. So this is what the play was the whole time. I knew there had to be a play, obviously.
I think what's even more concerning is in the NDAA Section 219, which is going to start commingling our military supply chains and technology with Israel.
The proposal to have a merging of some sort between our Pentagon and your military?
Yeah, I'm calling it from aid to partnership.
It certainly brings up some issues of sovereignty, but we'll have to work that out later. Thank you so much, Prime Minister. We appreciate you joining us.
Why does the lady at Fox News look like an owl that just like got hit in the head or something, or like, dropped on the head when they were a baby? Everybody at Fox News is like a bird brain. She's like, so Netanyahu, like she's like, I mean, I know I'm not the greatest looker out there, and I've been told I look cross-eyed sometimes, so I might not be the, I might be the wrong messenger for this one, but it's like every woman at Fox is like, so Netanyahu, I heard we're going to lose our sovereignty. I mean, anyway, whatever. It's like, if this is the best that the Republicans can do, is giving up our sovereignty when it comes to anything related to Pentagon, military, supply chains to Israel, I hope they lose in November. And this is, I can't really control what happens, obviously, and nobody listens to me, at least, it's not happening as fast as we would like, but people are waking up. But here's what I want to happen at this point. This is my absolute line in the sand. If this happens and they pass this was the Republican Party that did this almost exclusively. Yes, they had Democrats and sellouts in the Democratic Party who did it, but it was mostly the Republican House. Like almost every Republican except for like 8 voted for this. If this is the best you can do, Republican Party, I want you to lose in November. I want you to lose. I mean, I don't want you to lose like every state or something, because they do a better job running most states and like keeping the crime out, et cetera. But in general, I want you to lose everything. And I want you to know that this is why you lost it. I don't want you to say this or that, or they're all libtards. No. I want you to know. I want you to lose everything. And I want you to know you lost everything because you couldn't stop sucking off Israel. You sucked off Israel and the lobbyists and the donors and the people giving you hundreds of millions of dollars so hard that you forgot which country you work for. And you need to know that that's why you lost in November. And you need to either change your tune or, get run out of office by some person that isn't sucking off the Israel lobby so hard. And it's been a slow crawl to this now for years. In 2019, I had no bias against any country or for. I probably had a pro-Israel bias because of PragerU and all of these other Zionists that I didn't even know what the word Zionist meant. But in general, I was like, yeah, I believe in the First Amendment over anti-Semitism. Like, what is this bill that you guys are passing? And as soon as I said that, I got blacklisted from every organization. So, I had somebody message me on Instagram yesterday. He said, I'm sorry, Anomaly, I gave you so much shit. Like, you were right about everything. And I don't need that. I don't need people coming back saying you were right about everything. I'll take it. Obviously it's better than like, screw you or something. But, there's going to be a lot more of that in the future, because I've never been saying this like, oh, I'm just talking shit. Like, I don't have time for this. There's a lot of things we could talk about. We could have fun and talk about music. If you stay late into the live streams, we talk about a lot of stuff and we have a great time. But I didn't say these stories like fluffed up just to make a scene. I don't need to make a scene. I said it because it's true. I realized in 2019 that the Republican Party prioritizes Israel over everything. First Amendment or Israel. They say, well, we love the First Amendment. We love freedom of speech. We don't believe in hate speech. We don't believe in safe spaces. We don't believe in crying racism or racism speech laws or calling this sexist or blah, blah, blah. Okay, what about anti-Semitism? And then they're like, oh, well, you're an anti-Semite. We have to pass this bill. And I was like, holy moly. This is crazy. Like, they love Israel so much that they are willing to put it over the First Amendment. That's when I got concerned, because I was like, Yeah, no, I get that. You like that country more than Palestine. Makes sense. You know, they're like, oh, these kids are throwing rocks at the, you know, the tanks and stuff or whatever they were saying back then. And I was like, listen, I don't even know that much about Israel and Palestine at the time. So I was like, what I'm saying has nothing to do with how much you love Israel. If you want to move there one day, if that's your ethno tribe, or you believe that Jesus told you to, you know, suck off the people that he called the synagogue of Satan, or whatever you think that your interpretation of your race or religion is. I'm not here to challenge that right now. All I'm trying to say is I thought we believed in the First Amendment for everything. It would be like if I'm like, I'm Italian, I believe in the First Amendment, but not for this. You're an Italiophobe. Let's pass Italian speech laws so you can't criticize me. Like, that's crazy, but that's what they're doing. And when I said that in 2019, it's not like I know exactly what they're going to do, but clearly if they're willing to do that, it's like, if you don't even believe in the First Amendment, what else are you going to do? You know? And you go 5 and 6 years. It's the same as during lockdowns. Like, I said that mandatory vaccines were around the corner in 2019. I said that they were going to do all this crazy stuff. And people were like, how did you predict that? It was just, I was speaking about what people were ignoring because they were already doing that. And I was like, if they do this in New Jersey, if they do this in California, if they start pushing it in certain places and people don't say anything, they're just going to keep pushing it further. So it's like, it's not like I'm a prophet predicting things. Like, I'm not QAnon being like, listen, guys, I'm a secret mystic. Meanwhile, it's like a sub 80 boomer that's just lying to you for money or something and selling like Patriot plungers. But it's like, I'm seeing the news that everyone's suppressing. And the reason that I've been so pushy about it is because I know that they're trying to create a Truman Show-like conservative media atmosphere where essentially you can't ever hear this, because they know if you hear this and everybody said it, then you'd know it and you wouldn't want it. So this is what's important about social media. And although we're complaining and ranting a little bit, we're also going to be understanding that we're making a lot of progress. Trust me, they see you on social media. Don't think that they don't see you. Don't think that the politicians don't see you in their comments. Obviously, the most sold out ones are just going to be like, you're anti-Semitic, like Don, Turkey Bacon or whatever his name is, Donald Turkey Bacon, Don Bacon. He's like, oh my gosh, you're so anti-Semitic. How many $1 million have you taken from the Israel lobby, you pork bacon son of a, blowfish? I'm trying to be friendly for the kids. I saw my friend send me a video the other day. He's like, yo, we're watching Anomaly with my little kid. And I was like, I'm trying my best to be, appropriate, but this is not a show for your kid. But if your kid watches it, then I'm going to try to say things like blowfish instead of other words for you guys, and for me. With that being said, Don Bacon takes millions. I believe it's in the millions of dollars from the Israel lobby. So when he's like, I don't see it, anti-Semitism, that's just like him saying, I want money. I just want to keep making money, get out of my way. But a lot of the politicians, there's, I don't know what the rule is. They used to say there's like a 70-30 rule where it's like, it's not, you don't need 100% of the population. You just need enough to get everybody else to follow. Even in Congress, you have your like Lindsey Graham's, Don Pork Bacons, and, your Randy Fines and your ideologues. But then you just have people that are like afraid. They're like, ooh, Thomas Massie, I agree with you, but I don't want to get voted out. Oh, Thomas, I agree with. I've heard that so many times in conservative media. People were like, Anomaly, you're totally right, man. But like, I just want to make money from Zionists. Like, no, I agree with you, man. But like, I gotta feed my family. And it's like, F you guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, feed your family. That's awesome. But you know what you're doing. It would be like, someone working at CNN pushing like racial propaganda every day and leftism and being like, yeah, I know it's a lie, but I just got to make money. Okay. Everyone has to make money, but like, stop pretending like you're a patriot. Stop pretending like you like the First Amendment. Stop pretending like, all of these like Zionist cosplayers, every day for them is like stagecoach. They put on a cowboy hat. It's like they're going to, cowboy Coachella. They're like, I'm the biggest patriot in the world. I love my guns and I love my First Amendment and I sell shirts. Cool. But they don't even stand up for these things. That's what's the most annoying part. It's literally cosplay. It's like cowboy dress up for these like total losers. And they know that they're doing it. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big drama person. You've known me. I know people that I know for a fact. I'm not even going to say, like, I know they know. I've had conversations with them 6 years ago. In car, like driving around. I know that they know, and yet they're not saying anything. So this was my big message. I'm just going to repeat it because I did it on Instagram, but that doesn't matter because I'm live now. two things. If you're not just a random person, I don't care what you post. You don't have to post at all. You don't have to listen to politics. You don't even have to pay attention. I don't, I don't even, it doesn't matter to me. Not to say that it's not important, because I think people are, but I'm just saying, if it's not your full-time job, if you're not making money from it, if it's not like, you're cashing out on it, then I don't think you're as big of a culprit necessarily. Not that your activism doesn't matter. Like I said, people do see you, but this message, my first message, is for Republican, conservative, and right-leaning journalists and news analysts who make a fortune every day yapping their big mouth on social media with hundreds of posts and blah, blah, blah. And I'm Matt Walsh and I'm Michael Goyles from the Daily Goy, here to tell you what you need to hear, whatever. These type of people who they're big mouth, they have so much to say about so many things. But then when they're trying to pass Israeli speech laws in America, all of a sudden, Michael Goyles and Matt Walsh at the Daily Goy, they don't have anything to say. Their big mouths are just all of a sudden just not yapping as loud as they normally do. They usually have so much to say, but it's only about liberals. It's like, wow, it's just the left. Ignore the right as we sell out to Israel. Look left. Don't look over here. And it's like, hey, you're stealing my stuff. And they're like, no, we're not. It's the left. It's Tyler. I know, we all know, that we all know that. Stop the act. If you're a right-wing, conservative, Republican journalist, I don't even talk to left-wing journalists. I expect nothing from them. I don't vote for them. I don't listen to their media. I'm not interested in their feminism or their, Pride year, decade or whatever they're doing. I'm not interested in forced masking and vaccine mandates. The left means nothing to me. The reason I don't talk about them is not because I super respect them. It's because it's the reason LeBron James doesn't argue with a toddler. They're not even on the same playing field when it comes to conversations about society. Now let's get to the right. And there's some good left-wingers, but not very many at this point, very small amount. Now let's get to the right. It's our party that's passing this stuff. It's our party that's pushing this even further. Yes, the left does a bunch of stuff too, and we don't need to ignore that. But if you're a right-wing journalist, a conservative journalist, and a Republican influencer, and you make a fortune doing this every day and yapping your big mouth, and you said nothing about the NDAA bill at all, even when Fox News even says, oh, I think it's a problem for our sovereignty. If Fox News is saying that, it's a problem for our sovereignty, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't even be saying anything near that, who they are. She's like an owl. She's like, hoo. It's like, look at if I play the video again, tell me she doesn't look like a confused owl that got dropped on her head when she was a baby. It's a problem for our sovereignty, but I guess that'll have to wait for another day. Yeah, it always has to wait for another day on your network, doesn't it? But if you're a right-wing journalist and you don't talk about the NDAA at all, I don't even care. Like, I just want you to know that we all know that you're a piece of garbage. We know that you're fake. And all I ask is just be honest about it. Don't wake up every day, put on a cowboy hat, go on Instagram, tell everybody that you're a patriot, go to Turning Point, wow, take a bunch of pictures. Like, you have to know that you're in on it, right? Not that I respect them, but I almost respect people that know that. Like, there's people that actually know that they're in on it and they're purposely doing it. And it's like they're just operatives at this point. And it's like, it's not good at all. But there's people that are influencers that I think actually think they're like doing a good job. And that's crazy to me. Like, you have to know you're evil. You have to know you're a sellout. You have to know that you're borderline traitorous with this stuff. It's not that you have to say everything that I say or report on everything that I say. You have to, or you're a bad person. I don't like to play that game. But I know people that I know for a fact for 6 years now, they've known about this stuff. And now the slippery slope is going further and further towards our sovereignty. And even Fox News says it's a problem with our sovereignty. If you're getting outflanked by Fox News on this topic, you are not only horrible at your job, but you should be shamed and humiliated, and nobody should ever like you. And at least, at bare minimum, you should at least know that you're doing it and feel some sort of shame. Next, to the Republican Party. If this gets to the Senate, I saw Lauren Boebert say, I didn't mean to vote for it or something. I like Lauren Boebert. We took a picture together. We looked very attractive together. I would say, we should go on a date sometime maybe, but I don't want to get into that. That's just here or there. I never really pursued it because I was like, dude, the feds will be tracking me if I go on a date. I can't even go on a date with Lauren Boebert without the feds tracking me. So I didn't even propose it, nor would it have really been appropriate, nor should I even be talking about it. But it's all too late for that, isn't it? But anyway, Lauren Boebert, the lovely lady, she was on Twitter saying like, oh, I talked to Pete Hegseth and he promised it wouldn't be in the Senate's bill when it gets back to me. Maybe that's true, but is the department of Jack Daniel, is the secretary of Jack Daniels, drinking on a Tuesday morning? Is he in the Senate? Does he gets to decide what the Senate does, or is it just that the Senate's head is so far up the Pentagon's ass, which is so far up Israel's ass, it's like a human centipede at this point, that they just know what they're going to do? I told you brought back Prime Anomaly. You didn't have to do this. I can't fake passion. Sometimes I want to talk about stuff. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't go live for weeks. When I'm locked in, it's when these suckers just don't do their job. And I have to, I have to go prime MJ on them. Human centipeding across different countries at this point. But if this passes in the Senate, and however, I don't know the little games they play. We strip this and we bring it back and then we bring it back there. I get it. I learned this in school. I remember it. I understand how the government works, but it's like we go there and we need this vote and then we do this and don't worry. What is Pete Hegseth doing there? Tell him to go back to the Pentagon. But, they say it's going to change in the Senate. They say it's going to come back to the House. They say it's going to get sent back. Whatever. We'll see if that happens. But what I'm saying to the Republican Party is if it passes through the Senate and passes through the House and becomes a bill, I want you to lose badly. I want you to get absolutely obliterated in November in the primaries. I want you to lose everything. I want you to be humiliated. I don't care what the Democrats think about you. Oh, they're going to do this to Trump. They're gonna say that they're gonna impeach Donald Trump. I don't care about peaches. I don't care about plums. I don't care about grapes. I don't care about impeachments. I don't care what happens to you with the Democrats. If they impeach all of you, I don't even care at that point. Not that I want that to happen. Not that that's a good sign for the country. But all I'm asking for you to do is not do traitorous activity. All I'm asking is to keep the sovereignty of America. If America's supply chains, if America's Pentagon, if America's military and our technology and our secrets and our AI and our data, if that stays with us, we have leverage over any country, because then obviously they have their own stuff as well. But then it's a conversation of like, hey, we want to work with you, but we don't need to. That's called leverage. We don't have leverage in America right now, because most of our media is working for Israel directly or indirectly, in some cases directly. In some cases, there's certain media companies with a foreign agent as their chief strategy officer, multi-million-dollar company with 1,000 employees. Salem Media. You have a registered foreign agent as your chief strategy officer, and you have Lara Trump, who owns a stake in the company, being like, there's just so much anti-Semitism. You have a foreign agent at the media company doing strategy that you have a stake in. The word anti-Semitism, if you haven't noticed, has always been a slanderous smear term to attack honest Americans who tell the truth, people with high IQs that have pattern recognition, politicians that won't take Israeli donor money and AIPAC money, anybody who won't vote for things that Israel wants, no matter if it's in America's interest or not. That's what the word anti-Semitism means. So if you ever use that word unironically, you are a dumb goy. You are Michael Goyles from the Daily Goy and Matt Goysh from the Daily Goy. Let's talk about bathrooms again. Hey, have you noticed that the moon landing was real? Hey, Matt, might want to talk about these topics. I know the Israel lobby. I talk about it once every 3 years. What more do you want from me? I wear a corduroy jacket. I dress like a lumberjack, but I probably don't even know how to do anything. We know. We've seen it. But your documentary about the What is a Woman was pretty cool, though. We all like that. If the Republican Party can't at bare minimum, keep our sovereignty so we have some sort of leverage or distance between our technology and our military and the foreign nation of Israel. They already control most of our media. Everyone knows that. And they just call people anti-Semitic. You talk about it. They already control most of our government. They control Trump. They control the Democrats at the highest levels, like the people that matter, not the little minions at the bottom that can't do anything. They buy out most of our Congress. Literally over half, by a large margin, is lobbied by AIPAC. And that's not the only Israel lobby, by the way. It's just the most popular one. So most of our Congress is literally purchased and lobbied by a lobby that wants them to do things that aren't good for America. Oh, it's good for America to merge our military. Yeah, says you. We get it. So we're already losing leverage on like every front, and any leverage that we currently have, they're just trying to give away further. What if we shared our technology and our supply chains and our Pentagon? I mean, let's listen to I don't know what her name is. This isn't Maria Bertiromo. Maria Bertiromo, BIRD-O-Romo. She's one of the bird brains at Fox News. But this one, we'll listen to it again. Watch her and tell me she doesn't look like a confused owl who got dropped on her head. Because she's like, we're merging the Pentagon. That's kind of weird, isn't it? And Netanyahu's like, yeah, it's becoming a partnership.
I think what's even more concerning is in the NDAA Section 219, which is going to start commingling our military supply chains and technology with Israel.
The proposal to have a merging of some sort between our Pentagon and your military?
Yeah, I'm calling it from aid to partnership.
It certainly brings up some issues of sovereignty, but we'll have to work that out later. Thank you so much, Prime Minister. We appreciate you joining us.
Why will we have to work that out later? At least she said it, though. I got to give Hoot McOwlstein some credit there. At least she said that it was a problem for our sovereignty. Most Republican influencers won't even say that. They won't even admit that it's a problem with our sovereignty. I know that that's not Maria Bertiromo. That's Hoot Owlstein. She flies in at night. She's nocturnal. She does her thing. She flies out. But I don't know who that is. I don't care. All I'm just saying is it's not really a topic to wait for later. And think about that. If it is a problem with our sovereignty, it would be like, oh, this is a problem with, like, do people know what the word sovereignty means? Oh, let's just save it for later. It's not that big of a deal. It's only like everything. It's only the entire existence of our liberty from other nations. It's only the origin story of how we became a nation for hundreds of years. And they're like, it's like, it would be like them being like, this might be like a problem with like the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, like completely. It might like violate it completely and ruin hundreds of years of sovereignty. But I guess we'll just save that for later. Like, I don't know. It's not really something we want to talk about right now. Why do you not want to talk about that right now? I know why. Because most people in media suck off the Israel lobby so hard that they prioritize it over everything. And anybody who tries to step in their way and say, hey, why don't we prioritize this over the foreign nation of Israel? They just scream anti-Semitism so they can make more money and get more power. They know what happens to them. They get Tucker Carlson if they talk about it. They get Candace Owens if they talked about it. That's what happens to you if you talk about it at those positions. They know that. So they just act stupid all the time. And what I've told people for 5 years, because at first I wasn't sure. I let you know when I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I'm like, I don't know why these people don't know. Maybe they're retarded. But then I started to realize, oh, everyone knows. They have to know it. How could you have the internet, be in news every day, talking about the news every single day from 2016 to 2026, and you don't know about the Israel lobby? People like Matt Goish at the Daily Goy, he wrote an article over a decade ago about the Israel lobby that is succinct, that is accurate, that is funny, that is edgy. It's only gotten worse. Yet he doesn't talk about it anymore. He said that The Anti-Semitism Awareness Act that was being pushed by Mike Lawler was one of the worst pieces of legislation ever conceived. Charlie Kirk called it flagrantly unconstitutional, and Matt Walsh did a whole video on it and said this is one of the worst bills I've ever seen in my life. The definition that Matt Walsh acted like was just in the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act, it was passed into Florida. It's been passed into most U.S. states on a state level for the law. Not that you can't say something or it's hate speech, but just embedding it in the law, trying to push it as far as they can. In states like Florida, they push it further. They start visiting people's houses for Facebook posts. You know, if you leave a flyer on somebody's car, like, hey, vote for this Republican, but if it's deemed anti-Semitic, they could throw you in jail for it or take you to court. Like, every state is trying to subvert our First Amendment as much as they can, but they can't. So it's like Matt Walsh talks about this and says it's the worst bill ever conceived, which is probably somewhat close to the truth. But then he's basically tricking his audience into thinking that that's it. We beat it. It's over. It's been passed. That same definition that you were crying about, Matt Goish, the Daily Goy. I keep forgetting his name is not Walsh. It's Goish now. That definition of anti-Semitism, the IRA definition that you complained about and were just shocked about 6 years later, it's passed into Florida. It's passed into most Republican states. It's been passed an executive order by Trump in 2019. They pass it all the time, and they're embedding it into our country for a reason. They can't subvert our First Amendment yet, but they're trying every which way. And Florida tries super hard. You had, what's the guy that looks like a skeleton that's been sitting in your shed for 90 years? He's like pale. He literally looks like a sleep paralysis demon. Rick Scott, that ugly old, dude, Rick Scott. Here's a question, buddy. You live in Florida. How are you so white? I like white people. I don't skin shame. I'm very fond of the Caucasians. How are you so white when you live in Florida? I've seen white people in Florida. Their skin looks like a leather couch because they're in the sun all the day. How are you a Senate? Like, what does he spend all times in an Israeli bunker or something, or in Washington? Haha, that's a joke, buddy. Relax. But yeah, the guy who looks like a skeleton, Rick Scott, Kanye West or Ye was going to perform a concert in Tampa. He's already like apologized to rabbis and just wants to do his non-offensive music or whatever. And Rick Scott's trying to cancel his arena tour in Tampa. Yeah, I think it was in Tampa, but it was definitely in Florida. And he's trying to use these anti-Semitism rules and laws and be like, well, technically, Mr. Skeletor has decided after much money from the Israel lobby that if it is a stadium that is publicly funded by taxpayers, then you don't have the freedom to perform your songs here, Mr. Ye. Go back in the shed. It's not Halloween yet, Rick Scott. And for God's sake, get outside and get a little bit of sunshine. Not to change your skin color. We love the albinos, but just for health purposes, dude, get some vitamin D in there, doggy. It's you see what I'm saying? Like, Florida is like one of the most Jewish states. I mean, if Florida is like pretty Jewish, but that doesn't mean that every Jewish person agrees. I'm just saying, like, Florida, the Israel lobby is just really prevalent, and they're like serpentining a little bit around the laws even more. So they're like, you have the freedom of speech. You just don't have the freedom of a flyer being posted there. Because if you post a flyer that's littering and we're going to hype up hate speech charges for this people, and then you might go to prison. You're like, whoa. They're like, you have the freedom to speak, but you can't speak in a song even when you're not performing those songs because you said something mean in a podcast 3 years ago. So we don't want you to play at this stadium because that stadium's taxpayer funded and you don't have the right because we own it. We are the government. Like, these are the games that they play with the anti-Semitism laws in Florida. But with this NDAA, I looked it all up because obviously some people will say, oh, you're just exaggerating. It's just this, it's very, I wouldn't even say broad, but it's just very sneaky, subversive wording where, integrating supply chains, integrating technology. Technology is the heart and soul of our military. What makes our military great, obviously, intelligence, human intelligence, our people, our pilots, our soldiers, our Navy SEALs, yes, but it's our technology that rises even above. Look what they're doing to Iran over a nuclear weapon. Look how nice everybody is to Pakistan. Pakistan has a nuke. We're like, sir, yes, sir. It seems to work for them. But, besides all that, It's our military technology that makes our military so advanced. So why would we be merging that with Israel? Don't they have their own? In my opinion, yes, they're very technologically advanced, but also they get a lot of money from us. They get a lot of things from us. Who knows the real numbers of what's happening with our military? I don't know, but we've helped Ukraine and Israel so much over the past 4 or 5 years. There's reports saying that we've drained a lot of resources, giving them to Zelensky and Netanyahu. And please don't even think about what they have in common, because that's obviously hate speech. Of course, there's like a boomer freaking out on Facebook, which is crazy. So this is my simple message. Once again, maybe I'll read some comments. Someone said subversive wording sounds Chinese. Could be Cuba. Could be Cuba with their massive infrastructure doing all this. But if you're a Republican journalist, conservative analyst, you make a lot of money, you run your big mouth every single day about every topic, you talk about everything, it's your full-time job, and you don't report on this, all I'm saying is we've all noticed by now. So just be honest with yourself. Do whatever you want. Be like, oh, look at the left. We get it. Ha ha ha. Do another street interview. We know that you're doing, like, we all know, just at least just be honest with yourself and say, I don't want to talk about this because I know I need to get shekels from the Israel lobby and the Zionists, and these are the people that I surround myself with. So if I start talking about this, they might think I'm anti-Semitic, and I don't want to be. It's the same sort of association. Like, remember during COVID, like liberals got so weird where they were like, I don't even want to take off my mask. And we're like, but Dr. Fauci said you can take off your mask. And they're like, but I don't want to look like I'm a conservative. And it's like, you think showing your face makes you look like a conservative? Like, that's how crazy Democrats got. They're like, we know the science says that I need to like breathe and get this off my face. But if I take my mask off, people might think I'm a Republican. Like, think about that level of brainwashing and playing opposite day with the other side. That's a lot. That's what the Zionists do in the media too. They're like, oh, if you question Tyler Robinson, you must be Candace Owens. Oh my gosh. If you question the Israel lobby, is that Nick Fuentes? And they all know when they work there, like all the good people that still work there, they know what I'm saying is completely true. They've never questioned it. They've never wanted to debate me. Behind the scenes, they're all telling me I agree with you, but they'll never say anything publicly. And it's because they know if they come out and just say, hey, you know what? I don't agree with the NDAA bill. I don't agree with that because I don't like the technology merging. They're going to be called an anti-Semite. They might be called Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes. And, they don't want that. So it's the same thing as the liberal. It's like not wearing a mask makes you a Republican. Telling the truth about reality and standing up for America over Israel makes you Nick or Candace or Tucker. Like, how does that even make sense? But this is what they're afraid to do. So if you don't talk about this at this point, all I'm saying is just know you're Lindsey Graham, like you're controlled opposition. At least be self-aware that you're selling your country out and you're suppressing yourself at the expense of our First Amendment and sovereignty. That's all. At least be self-aware. I'm tired of like the whole cowboy act. And to the Republican Party, I had the lowest of low expectations. I know there's people in the comments too, because it's like, oh, there's some people that are like, if you voted for Trump, you're bad. Okay. If you didn't vote for, you can't talk. There's always going to be those people that say all those things. But here's my point. When Biden was in office, there were vaccine mandates that they were pushing extraordinarily heavily. There were lockdowns that they were pushing harder. They had the border wide open. Under Biden, the Ukraine war jumped off and they were funding that. And also Israel killed tens of thousands of people in Palestine and started the absolute slaughter of the people there. And Joe Biden didn't do anything about it. He just kept giving them money and pretending to give aid. So it's like this idea that the left, people need to get past this, in my opinion. If you disagree, it's fine. I don't really care. But this idea of like when the right's really bad, it's like, oh, the left's going to be better, or the left's really bad. Oh, the right's going to be better. I'm not sitting here. There's always going to be little things that are better and worse. But I don't believe personally that if Democrats won completely, that most of the stuff wouldn't be happening. It probably all would be happening, like 99% of it. And then instead of this, you'd have the border wide open and they'd like sell our country out to Ukraine or something. And then Republicans would get back in and do the Israel. So we could sit here and argue about voting or not voting all day if people want to do that. But to me, what's more interesting is one of these parties are going to get in. They're going to do traitorous things, both of them. Like leaving the border open like Joe Biden did, to me, that's traitorous activity. Vaccine mandates, forced masking on children. I don't even know what the word. It's beyond evil. Like this is the type of thing. If you did this 300 years ago, you'd be considered the most evil demon to ever walk the earth. Yet this is like 95% of Congress now. It's insane. So at the end of the day, it's like I had extraordinarily low expectations for Donald Trump. And I know that they're sold out to Israel, but so is Biden. However, people need to figure this out one way or the other. And I don't know what's going to speed up that process. If you can make the case where it's like, if this doesn't happen, then it'll speed up. I don't know. But right now, all I know is that because when Republicans get back into power too, it's like, I know you guys are horrible, but let's see what you can do. Let's see what RFK can do. Let's see if Trump can even keep half of his campaign promises on stopping Ukraine. He's not doing anything. So I hope they lose miserably, not because I'm under the understanding of like, oh, the Democrats are going to be way better. They're not. But what's going to wake up our side? That's what, I don't have all the answers. What's going to make people, I personally think a lot of people, because Trump got back, like if Trump never got back, this is all a hypothetical, by the way, because I don't know what would happen. But in my thought process, if Trump didn't get back and Democrats won, the border would be wide open, the wars would be flowing, like barely anything would change. But everyone would have this idea like, oh man, they stole the 2020 election from Trump. They stole the 2024 election from Trump. In 2028, he's going to get back and then we're going to fix it, which isn't true also. So it's like, I don't see them winning, speeding up the process unless the country just got so bad that everyone went like further right. I don't really know. These are all, like I said, hypotheticals. But for me personally, I knew when Trump got in, it's like, okay, there's no more excuses. There's no more wait 18 years. Like the QAnon thing has run its course. It's like, let's see what he does. Within a year and a half, I would say just like the average person that's not super tapped into politics. And what we need to understand too, is if you're like hyper focused on politics and you're very educated, you watch shows like this and other shows and you're like really, passionate about it, you're not the average person. You're above average. Congratulations. Let's give you a round of applause. You're special, boys and girls. You're just better than everybody else. It's not our fault. No, but my jokes aside, I'm just kidding. But it's not people that really pay attention that always sway everything. It's like when enough people get it, not the people who got it super early, like 5%, 10%, 20%. Like we need like half the country, 60, 70% of the country to get it. I've seen the change from less than 5% of the country understanding the Israel lobby to like 80% of the country understanding the Israel lobby. I've seen a lot of Republicans like just want to suck off Trump all the time. And now, even in the last year, when I talk to people that aren't like super, super tapped into politics, most Republicans that I know like a year ago were like, I like Trump. They're not liberal. They're like, ooh, I don't like how he handled the Epstein thing. I don't agree with this war. I think he's kind of a sellout. Like calling Trump a sellout 3 years ago was considered edgy. And like, everyone's like, I don't know why you're saying that. I have messages from people that are like super America first. And like, they love Candace and they're all about all this stuff. I have messages from them 4 years ago yelling at me in my comments, how dare you question Donald Trump? Now their entire feed is them questioning Trump. And I'm not saying that to get mad at them. I'm just saying that the numbers are moving in the right direction. And I think most people outside of like the obsessed sycophants, like people are seeing through Trump because he's doing such a bad job. He's like, there's whether you want to, like, we all have to be humble enough to, stand firm, but at the same time, not that type of firm, relax guys, but stand firm, but understand that everyone has different reasons that they do stuff. And I think that's key. For example, Trump won Muslim areas in Michigan because they were so sick of Joe Biden being the president and how he was doing nothing to stop Israel. And even though it's very naive of them to think that Trump's going to be better on the Israel topic, they literally voted for Donald Trump in heavily Muslim areas. because they were like, maybe, like they just wanted to roll the dice. Tens of thousands of people were dying, women and children. They're like, it can't possibly get worse than this. Let's try our luck with Trump. It doesn't mean that they were right. It doesn't mean you have to shame them. It doesn't mean that that's why you voted for Trump or you didn't vote. But this is the reality. It's like Trump did have a coalition, as naive as you could think it was. He had millions of people who thought he was going to ramp down that war. He had millions of people that thought he was going to ramp down the Ukraine war. He had millions of people that thought he was going to do a better job exposing Epstein, not covering up and saying like, oh, don't talk about Bill Clinton. You had a lot of people that thought he was going to do the Doge. You had a lot of people that thought he was going to do a lot of things. So I think, before, when Trump won, there was hope just because people were like, I want to believe it. It's the same as during COVID. A lot of people didn't understand pharmaceutical corruption, but when you get locked in your house for like a year, now you have to figure it out because there's no other option. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, through rose-colored glasses or not, millions of people woke up to what's really going on here during COVID. I know so many people that were like, dude, I never paid attention to politics, but how could you not when you're like, they're abusing your children and you can't go to work. So after Trump won, we now have way more people that understand this stuff by a long shot. So Republicans, I just want them to understand. And you guys can think whatever you want. And, I'm not in, these are my opinions. This is my perspective. But I personally do think that politicians see what people are saying. If you go, just use Instagram, right? Politicians are human beings. I know it's hard to believe, but they are. They use Instagram. They're scrolling. They have similar algorithms. Look in the comment section on any video, whether it's a race video or a feminist video or an Israel lobby video. The comment sections of everywhere are based. Everyone's based now. Everyone's edgy. Everyone's honest. Everyone's raw. The whole safe space, social media, liberal thing, that was an illusion that was being cast. That's completely falling apart. And then the Israel lobby Zionist thing is completely falling apart. So don't think that they don't know what we think and what everyone thinks. They absolutely know. They could be fake about it. They could go run to Congress and hang out with lobbyists and whatever, but they absolutely know. So I just want them to know, if Republicans lose in November, I could do a whole list of why I'm not going to vote, because I wasn't going to anyway. But in general, I want them to know and understand it's because they suck and because they prioritize Israel over America. And they could lie about it all they want and cry anti-Semitism, but I think they're going to absolutely get destroyed. And the left is going to be horrible. And it'll probably make a lot of people, move further to the right. That's what always kind of happens. Like Trump sucking super hard is emboldening the socialists and communists that he says he doesn't like. When they get in office and suck really hard, it's going to embolden people that are right and that'll be more right wing and think, oh, wow, I think Trump actually sucks now. So that's the irony of the whole Zionist thing. All they do is complain about jihad and Islam and communists, but they're the biggest, besides obviously the left, they're the biggest emboldeners of that, if that's even a word. Embolden, can I just put an ER on it? Who started all these wars in the Middle East? It was the neocons and the Zionists. That created the refugee crisis. Why do you think there's so many Muslims here? So it's like the same people complaining about the Muslims are the reason that all the Muslims are here. The same people that are complaining about socialism and communism are the reason that these people are going to win the elections coming up and in the future, because Democrats are already sick of the Israel lobby. So they'd rather pick a communist than a Nancy Pelosi. And it's not a good option. Like if I had to pick a communist or Nancy Pelosi, I don't want to play this game anymore. This is not a game that I want to play. I'm not voting for Nancy Pelosi and I'm not voting for a communist. But the Democratic Party will vote for socialists and communists over Nancy Pelosi. And instead of sitting there and being like, why would you do that? Who cares about Nancy Pelosi? It's like, what do you want? Arsenic or arsenic? It's like neither, And then on the right, they're not allowing anybody to come through. There are the people, the youth wants America first. But the boomers and the Trump dick riders and the Zionists and the donors, they want to preserve the Israel first stuff, but it's not working. So the Democrats will win because they have more numbers that can get in office. They're the communists and the socialists and the anti-Zionists, pink-haired weirdos, they're winning elections. And a bunch of Zionists are bankrolling the opposition to Thomas Massey. He's our greatest congressman we have, and he's losing. But there's going to be people who win. It's just, I'm telling people what's going to happen. Probably Democrats are going to win the midterms, and we need to let Republicans know. I mean, you can just tap out completely and be like, whatever, it's a mess. I don't really care. And I don't blame you. It's like, whatever. But for me personally, like, I'm always trying to be strategic, and I can't do everything all the time. I can't really do anything. But at the same time, I try to influence culture in a way that I feel like is helpful. And I think in many ways, if you don't look at the politicians, the culture, the mindset, like, things have gotten better in the country. It's just the politicians are not matching it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the people are ready, but the politicians are worse than they've ever been, even though the people are more based. The comment sections are more based. Instagram's more based. Twitter's way more based. Like, it's not even comparable. Dude, like, what we're living in right now would freak out Republicans and Democrats like 6 years ago. So we're winning on a lot of fronts, just not in Washington. So I want Republicans to know this is why you're losing. You suck. You're pathetic. You sell out to Israel. You don't believe in our First Amendment. You started the war you said you weren't going to start. There's no more wondering. Like, I like to give grace periods, and you don't have to, because I don't really, everyone has their own level of thinking, but it's like the whole idea that maybe we'll give them another chance. They've gotten another chance. The chance has been had. They did the opposite of what they said in Ukraine. They did the opposite of what they said in Iran. They didn't do anything with Doge. Trump just rants about, how he doesn't want people to go after Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein, because Jeffrey Epstein was a non-factor, even though he obviously wasn't. He said he worked for the Rothschilds, or other people did. It's like, there's no mystery anymore. It's like, they suck. They blew it. They need to know and figure out by 2028, or they're going to lose everything. And we don't want the communists and the Islamists on the left to win, but that's who's going to win. Not because of me, not because of Tucker Carlson, not because of Candace Owens, because you guys suck. So they need to know this. Like, work for America, not Israel. It's hard to even know that they even work for America. When you look at like their social medias, you would think they were like an Israeli politician or something. It's like, nothing here matters. They don't even talk about their neighborhoods. Don't even get me started with all of these like flock cameras too. All the worst people are promoting the flock cameras. And then it's like, okay, is crime disappearing? Is violent crime and carjackings? And, I just talked to a buddy of mine who's like, dude, I went to a town that I used to go to in college. It used to be a party town. He was like, it's super bad. It's super dangerous. Nobody wants to go out. There's just hoodlums everywhere, just starting mischief and stuff. It's like, what are the flock cameras for? If they're not stopping carjackings, they're not stopping theft, they're not stopping robbery, they're not cleaning up the streets. How am I possibly supposed to believe they're for stopping public violent crime when they're not? They're not doing that right now. So it's not like they stop it in Dubai. They stop it in El Salvador. They stop it in China. I'm sure they stop it in Turkey. I'm sure they stop it in Qatar and, a lot of Saudi Arabia. They don't allow that. That would never happen in Singapore. Singapore's a nanny state. They're recording everything. But there's flock cameras everywhere in America, but we don't have the safety of any of these countries. So what are they for? Because they're not for that. But Republicans need to know. And I think they do know. I know you could call me naive. You could say that they don't care, because they probably don't. But I promise you, they see your tweets. They see your Instagram posts. They see that they're not popular really anywhere. And the more that shifts, they need to understand. Like, they can hide from it all they want, but I want them to understand, and they will slowly understand this is why they're losing. And game theory wise and psychologically, this is why I've always spent a majority of my time talking about fake opposition Republicans. I've been clear about it, but I want to again. The left is not my party. I'm not voting for them. I don't agree with their ideology. I don't even want to stoop so low to have to censor myself to even think about what they like. If you're left wing and you watch my show, I appreciate it. God bless you. I'm a human being at the end of the day. I don't care what other politicians do. I'm not following a script. I'm not doing this or that. But when it comes to the Republican Party, Republicans are the side that really say they care about the First Amendment. Republicans are the side that want a nation that loves themselves and doesn't hate themselves and doesn't want to get overrun and wants to be strategic with who they're allowing in and not, and wants to protect the first two amendments, who believes in our founding. Like it's a self-loving nation that, you know, that's what the Republican Party pretends to be. It's like that's the ideology that makes sense to a lot of people with my vantage point. Fake opposition Republicans are worse because they're not doing any of those things, and they're working for Israel. And the people in the media that are Republican and never tell you that are making sure that people don't know that. Because if everyone in the media was as honest as I was, and I know a lot of them know this stuff, that you'll never say them, you'll never see them say this and that about it. They just don't talk about me because they know, and I'm sure some do, but I'm just saying in general, they can't have a conversation about this because they know I'm right. I've had people behind cameras say, no, you're totally right about your First Amendment concerns with the anti-Semitism bills. Then why don't you ever talk about it? Because they can't. It's the Truman Show. They have to control a percentage of Republican media to keep a percentage of Republicans in the dark. So they're using different things too. And I'll say this as well, because just like they do with boomers, they have most over 60 people just completely fried from Fox News. It's helpless for a lot of these people. But some of them are great people. I'm just saying. And then with the younger people, they're trying to use like Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens as like the boogeyman, where like, you know, I don't care. Like people always ask me all the time, like, what do you think about Nick and stuff? You don't want to be so consumed by hate or despising someone that you're able to be controlled by someone else. Like even if you disagree with Nick or Candace or me or whatever, be honest. Like that, you know, at the end of the day, you don't have to like people, but be honest and seek the truth. Like I know certain people that watch Candace every day, but I know a lot of people that they don't like how Candace is acting and what she's doing. So it's like leading them to start believing Zionists because they're like, well, I don't like what she's saying and, you know, this and that. And it's like, there's always these sort of games where it's like, you know, they're always using someone. Tucker Carlson's the boogeyman. Trump was the boogeyman at one point. There's always like a boogeyman to try to take real estate in the way you think and in your mind. And I think that with this stuff, there's a lot of people who are figuring it out. It's way more than it used to be, but there's still a lot of people that don't get it. So as time goes on, that's what I want people to do, is just figure this stuff out, because these people that never talk about this stuff, it's like the only reason that they're able to do it is because people are listening to them and supporting them and giving them power. And you're allowed to listen to anybody you want, but it's like once the jig is up, the jig is up. They could talk about it if they want, you know, they could make it a part of their show and just actually report stuff, but their job is to not do that. So that's why I've always talked about fake opposition Republicans, because when we win the House, we just won the House, we just won the Senate, we just won the presidency. Are we getting really healthy food with RFK? No, Trump is such a skis ball. He did a 180. He sided with lobbyists in the chemical industry, and he passed a glyphosate executive order. And then the main guy that wants to get the glyphosate executive order out of the way is a guy that they took 3 Jewish Zionist billionaires and spent 10, 20, $30 million to kick him out of office and broke records for a local House seat like that. You understand? It's like the one guy that tells the truth about the pesticide industry is the one that Trump runs out of Congress because he's also against Israel. And now Trump is destroying Make America Healthy again. And we don't have that many people who are there to talk about it. Like all these things go hand in hand, but with basically our party, this is my view. If you're Republican and Republicans are doing evil shit, you need to talk about it. If you're not talking about it, you're evil too. Like if you never bring this stuff up, if you're like David Harris Jr. and you're just like deep throating Trump on every social media, the Trump coin's out, can't wait to get one, sir. Yes, sir. You think he's ever going to like criticize Trump on this stuff? Dude, the dude would probably gargle freaking glyphosate like it's Listerine before he stops sucking off Trump. It's pathetic. Yet he's one of the biggest accounts on Facebook. Boomers are like obsessed with the guy. You know, it's like, whatever. I don't care who likes who, but at the end of the day, what are these people doing besides just keeping people under a spell, never allowing you to call out your own? I think if you voted for Trump or you're conservative or you're Republican, I think you should go even harder at your party and call them out even more, because they're the ones that are supposed to serve you. That's what I like to do. You don't have to agree, but that's how I like to play the game. I don't vote for Joe Biden. I don't vote for Kamala Harris. I don't vote for Democrats. So I'm not going to demand anything from them, because they're not my people. They don't even pretend to serve me. Like they're not even interested in entertaining a conversation that has anything to do with anything that I want. I don't think they care about what Christ wants, or not that say that I'm the same, but I'm just saying, like you think they care about what Christians and conservatives really want? No, they don't. But they also don't really pretend to that hard. Republicans are the ones that say they're going to clean up our food, and then they spray it with glyphosate. They say they're going to do all this stuff, and then they do the opposite. So as a Republican journalist, you should be holding your side accountable just as much as the left, if not more, because those are the ones that are supposed to do it. And if 90% of Republican journalists never say anything, what else are they doing besides destroying all of our momentum and handing the country to the other side? All of these right-wing grifters that never call out Trump, that never call out the Republican Party, that never call out Mike Johnson, that never say a damn thing, they're going to be the ones all year monetizing, making a fortune, saying left, Islamists, left, Islam. They're the reason that those people are going to take over. It's like this weird, and I don't know if they know they're doing this or not, but this is a political thing. The left loves to fundraise off the right-wing chaos. It's like secretly they kind of want it to happen, because then now they have something to fundraise off of. If something bad happens, a tragedy brings a lot of money. And it's the same with the right wing. It's like the same people that are going to make 6-7 figures probably off screaming Islam left wing are going to be the reason that those people take over. And when they do, they'll be the fake opposition for 4 years and make another 6-7 figures off of it doing nothing. And, they're not interested in the game theory of like, maybe I should make my side better. They're like, if I suck off my side hard enough, I'll make millions of dollars. I'll get invited to Mar-a-Lago. I'll get invited to the White House. And, I'll make enough money. And if I ever question my own side, I might lose a lot of that. So then it's like a business decision. They're like, I don't really want to. Like Trump is like, it's like they're like you ever seen a guy that like you go in his house and he's got like 15 Tom Brady cards and a Tom Brady thing and a Tom Brady hat and a Tom Brady shirt, and he goes front row and he pays $1,000 to meet Tom Brady before this? Oh my gosh, I got to shake his hand. It's a sports fanatic. There's people that are just super fans of certain people. Ronaldo, Messi. These people are super fans of Trump. They're not journalists. They're not news analysts. They're worse than Democrats, because they're blocking the way from people understanding this stuff. And their logic is, no, we don't criticize our own. We don't call out our own. We only call out things that Zionists want us to call out, like little stuff, like, oh, pass the Save America Act. Do it. Pass it. They're not going to. They're going to merge parts of our Pentagon technology with Israel, but they're not going to pass the Save America Act. That's the Republican Party. And then they're going to play stupid. Whoa, no, the Democrats have taken over, the Islamists. They're not even going to be like, I mean, it's not even going to be like real Islamists. It's going to be like sodomite Democrats, pushing homosexuality that isn't even allowed in most Islamic countries. It's going to be like liberal, like 4th generation Muslims who probably their ancestors are looking at like, what are you doing? Because it's like, how does Islam and Democrat even mix together? Like Democrat is like global homo feminism. And then Islam is like, women need to stop doing that. And yeah, we don't play that. So, it's like, what is this weird fusion that they have together? And some people are saying, well, they're using the Democratic Party to, infiltrate and take over. And then they're going to show you who they really are. How did they get here? How did so many people get here? Oh, from the wars? Who started the wars? Oh, the neocons and the Zionists push for the wars? So the same people crying about it and the same people covering it up are the same people who did it. Like, what's the point of complaining about something that you did? They're like, no, those were the different neocons. We're the new ones. We're totally different. No, you're not. And at the high levels, the people that Trump works for, the people that George Bush worked for, just a little spoiler alert, if you never watched my show, a lot of people act like it's some sort of mystery. Like, why would, I get that they want these foreign policies, but like, why would they flood Europe and America with all of these people that they claim to hate? Because they hate you. They're doing it to places that they don't like. you think that they're you, and you think that they're your like countrymen and your conservatives, but in reality, they're a certain tribe that doesn't like Europeans and they don't like Christians. In fact, they hate you with the passion of 1,000 suns. So they see it as a double whammy. It's like, we're going to use these morons to start the wars that benefit us, or we think are going to benefit us. And then we'll flood Europe with all of these migrants because we will then defile the Europeans and the Christians there and just completely destroy their civilizations. And then we're going to control their media companies and convince these dumb people that we're not doing it and we're on their side. And we're just going to keep yelling Islam over and over. And they're not even going to realize that we're the ones doing it. That's what's happening, by the way. So I'm sorry that I don't want to listen to their like, pawn minions that are just like, on Facebook and getting like 20,000 comments, like that. It's like a left winger complaining about crime after they just voted for a prosecutor who lets like a 5-time murderer out of jail. It's like, it doesn't, wow, you agree with me, but what's the point? Like, I don't want to talk about, oh, do you want these people to win? No, but this is the paradox of politics. It's like Nancy Pelosi versus a communist, evil, wretched bird lady who makes a lot of money on stocks and has been a corrupt wench for 50 years, and she should have retired 20 years ago. Her, we're a communist. It's like, pass. And then on the right side, it's like, what do you want? Do you want a Zionist who's going to merge your military technology with Israel, or a Zionist on the left who will probably also do that at some point, or let Congress do that and play dumb and then start the war in Ukraine also and leave the border open? Which one do you want? Do you want the Democrats who mandate vaccines, or do you want Trump who does vaccine socialism? Do you want the socialists on the left like Mamdani, who Trump absolutely loves and thinks is handsome? You can't see a bad, like, Trump loves Mamdani. Listen to him talk about him, post about him. Trump just likes aesthetics. He likes like attractive people. He's like, Mamdani, you're a handsome man. I'm no homo. I'm not gay, but the way your face goes, the chin, I like it. It's like a building I once built. It's like the reflecting pool. What is he, a pool boy? Is Trump a pool boy or something? He talks about his little pool more than he does anything that matters in the country. He's like the Israel lobby's little pool boy. They give him a net. He's like, I'm taking the algae out of my pool. We get it. You're a pool boy who gets to dance the YMCA on Fox News for boomers and convince them that you run the country. But anyway, it's like you either get this guy or that guy. I don't feel like arguing with people. Like, the people that want to argue with me about that, well, like there's Democrats like today that were posting on my page, like, why even be a Republican? It's like, what? It doesn't matter. Like, I can unregister it. Like, my vote doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, locally, sort of, on average, it matters because there's less votes. But like, I'm not taking it that seriously. And also, I am conservative and Christian, and I don't even like. I mean, Christian, I like that word, but like conservative, I don't even like the word conservative anymore. Not because I don't feel like I'm that, but like, what does that mean? If the Republican Party is and like Zionists, or like fake conservative Zionists, are destroying the word so hard, it's like, do I even want to be known as that? If like, what does a conservative mean? To me, it means like actually doing what the Bible says. But to a lot of Republicans, it means like sucking off Israel and pumping pornography and homosexuality into Iran. It's like, how is that Christian or conservative? Like, to me, that's like global homo. Like, why are you trying to do that to people? It's like, to us, conservative means blowing up women and children, lying about it, blowing up schools, lying about it, printing trillions of dollars, doing socialism for big pharma, merging Intel with the government, which is socialism, borderline communism, printing more money, running up the deficit more than any other president, and then picking algae out of a pool. If that's what conservative means, then I'll figure out a different word. Maybe I'll just go by Christian, or, figure out a new word to use besides conservative, because it's like, I'm tired of even using it. So I understand why people are criticizing it. It's like, why even be that? Whatever. Say, call me what you want, say what you want, but at least at this point, I'm wildly more interested in the Christian conservative Republicans in Congress and government and Trump's administration failing us, because they're the people, if anyone, that is actually going to do something for people like me. Like, it's not going to be the Democrats. Maybe it flips again or something, like maybe there's some weird thing where, like, I don't know, like Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens run as a Democrat and then the Republican Party gets taken over by Mamdani. It's not going to happen, but I'm just like, anything could happen. I don't really have an attachment to political parties. I don't care. I'm just saying, it's like, this is the party. Like, Trump said he was going to close the border. I think that that's a smart idea. Trump said he was going to end the war in Ukraine. And I'm not saying that I fully believed him, but it's like Biden, like Democrats are running on like sucking off Ukraine more. It's like, there's two things, and they're dominating what is like, here's what you want in this circle, and 90% of people don't want either of those circles. So we can argue about it all the time, but what's the point? Like, what's the point of being like, you voted Democrat, you voted Republican, you didn't vote, you can't talk if you don't vote, you can't talk if you did vote, you didn't vote, you did vote. It's like, who cares? It's like, why people that want to have that discussion over and over again, I don't understand it. But someone said the border isn't really closed. I think it's more closed than it was, to be honest. I do think that that's true, but I don't know, like, here's another thing. I probably shouldn't even be getting into this right now, but this is something that the quote unquote far right has said for years, and most people didn't understand it or want to listen to it until they started thinking about it, where it's like, if you ask most Republicans, right? And I'm just giving you guys a hypothetical, but I'm just being blunt. So take it for what you want. If you asked most Republicans and you said, do you want to stop illegal immigration or legal immigration? 99% of them would say illegal immigration. We want legal immigration. We just don't want the illegals. Okay. But then what if I told this and I said, are you sure? Is there any other situation where it would be different? And they're like, no, we don't care who comes in. If I said to most of those Republicans, I said, okay, would you rather 100,000 illegal immigrants come in from Sweden, or would you rather 3 million or 5 million legal immigrants come in from Haiti and India? They would be like, well, I don't want that many people. Why do you not want that many people coming from there if they're coming illegally? It's like, well, if they're taking over a town, like for instance, in like Dearborn, Michigan, I'm sure it's a nice place, but like, it's basically the Middle East now. Like, they have signs that are in Islam. It's not really America anymore. Like, it's been taken over by Muslims. And if you're Muslim, it's probably super dope, But if you have to understand, like, if you're not Muslim and you grew up in Dearborn and now you can't even read the signs, it's probably not dope for you now, and that's being a human being, that even if you have an opinion, you understand both sides. Like, I get the Muslim side. I get the non-Muslim side. I get the liberal side. I get the conservative side. But the reality is, demographics do matter to most people. Like, why would it not? If you said to Japan, do you want 90% of your population being from Africa or from India or, from Canada? Do you want French people to take over Japan? Do you want them to take over the city or town? Most Japanese people would say no. No, most Norwegians would say no. Israelis would definitely say no. Like Africans would say no. Asians would say no. Hispanics would say, like, no one has a desire. Does Mexico want 70% of their country to be Asian? Like, nobody, like, everybody wants what they're used to. They want Mexico. You can come, but they don't want you to completely flood the country and shift the demographics completely. They have Mexican pride. But Americans have been told, and Europeans have been told, that they're the only ones that are not allowed to think this way. So in reality, it's like, Republicans are like 18 years behind, because it's like Trump talks all this big talks. He closes the border, but then nothing he says adds up with what he's doing. ICE is doing all this stuff and pissing everyone off, but the numbers are not even that high. So it's like they're like, I don't even know how you become an ICE agent. You just like apply or something. So I don't know the level of people that they're taking, but they're doing this. The numbers aren't that high. Trump says that China stole the election, but he's not going to do anything about it. But he thinks they did it, but he's still going to let 600,000 Chinese people in. H-1B visas are bad, but now they're good because Trump talked to his corporate friends and they need those for cheap labor. So it's like, what's the point of even liking the Republican Party when they talk all this shit like they're so extremely based and Republican, and they piss everyone off with their rhetoric because they're annoying and unlikable, and they don't say it compassionately or even accurately half the time. It's just these like stupid talking points. Like they're like, nah, nah, poo poo, I'm cool, you're not, you're liberal, I'm not, nah, nah. So everybody hates them, and then they don't even do anything. And then it's like most Republicans don't even understand. They're like, I only want people to come if they're legal. But what if they have a legal loophole and they're coming over to the tunes of millions of people and they're, exploiting the American system? What about demographics? Do you notice any patterns between crime statistics and ethnicity? Has anybody noticed that, or no? Can you not? So it's like people don't want to say that. They just want to like suck off Trump, So it's like the worst of all worlds. They talk and act so annoying that people think that they're like so based and so awake to all this stuff, but they're really just liberals. They're like, they watch Zionist news and they think being a conservative means sucking off Trump, sucking off the Israel lobby, hating Thomas Massey, spraying glyphosate on their crops because it's America, shilling Operation Warp Speed because it's Trump's vaccine, starting a war with Iran, and then pushing pornography and homosexuality on Muslims because now conservative Christians think that Muslims are too conservative. like this is the average Republican. They're embarrassing. It's insanely embarrassing. They haven't even thought about half the stuff that I talked about because it's like not even a thought to them. So how could you possibly win a game that you're not even paying attention to? It's like they're, 95% of Trump's base probably doesn't want them to bring 600,000 Chinese students into our universities. But Trump does it anyway. Like his base doesn't want it, but he doesn't care. And I have a mixed feeling about that because on one, I think if 600,000 Chinese people come to our universities, I don't dislike China. I think they're very advanced civilization and impressive people, but they're definitely known to like, steal intellectual property and, take technology and take it for their ethno nation and stuff like that. So I understand the national security risk maybe of letting like 600,000 people over who work for a communist ethno state. But at the same time, I also think that if you listen to Zionist news, they fearmonger about China so much because they don't like China because they're an ethno state that they haven't been able to like pump all of these liberal things into and destroy. So that's why they hate China. So it's like, I don't even think it's as big of a deal as people think that they're coming over here to go to universities, but it is also bad for the average American if 600,000 of them get to go to top universities and bump 600,000 Americans down. Like there's many ways to play it, but the point of what I'm saying is everything that Trump says about China, everything that Fox News says about China and Zionist News says about China, they don't believe any of that stuff or because their actions don't match their words. So either they don't believe it or they're completely like powerless and Xi Jinping dog walks them or their rhetoric never matches the reality. They talk so tough on like, these people need to go that. And then as soon as they get in, they're like, ooh, I don't know. They're nice people. I want to let them stay. And it's like, the base is like, what? I thought you were going to do this. And the truth is, I do think that there is a lot of nice people in the country and a lot of good immigrants and a lot of good people on visas. It's true. I've met them. I talked to them. But I guess my major thing I would say, besides like mass migration and the fact that a lot of places don't like look like a foreign country, is the current state of America. Like even without immigrants and stuff and, more immigrants, I think America has so many issues. So, systemically, I'm not saying we have to do this. I think people like the World Cup was a huge success. People should come to America. I want great people to come here from all over the world. But at the same time, I'm wildly unimpressed with our cities. I'm wildly unimpressed with crime and filth everywhere. Like I've talked to people and also I've seen certain places in this country. And I think for a first world nation with our, civilized society and wealth, we should be embarrassed that some of our cities are this bad, like embarrassed. So without bringing more people in, I think we need to look at our cities and figure out how to fix them. The flock cameras aren't doing it. Like, I heard, I lived in Orange County And I heard that on 4th of July on Newport Beach, a bunch of people came from inland and just absolutely like ransacked the city, ransacked supermarkets, just went bananas on the entire city, just went crazy and like destroyed the entire city. Did any of them get caught with a flock camera? Like if there is flock cameras in public, can they at least do their job of catching criminals who destroy nice cities? And I'm sorry, but this is what some people do is they destroy their neighborhood. Their neighborhood sucks because they don't treat it nicely. I've been to bad areas in New York City and I've watched how people treat the not the barista, the bodega owner. Like certain people act insane. They act like madmen. And I'm not saying everybody does that, but when you live in a civilized town or city with people who treat people nicely and build, the city reflects that. When a majority of your city or town is filled with psychopaths who destroy and threaten and rob and treat everyone like garbage, it looks terrible. I've seen poor towns of certain European ethnicities where nobody has a good job and every house is small and it's clean, safe, and nice. Poverty doesn't create that reality for certain people. And I'm just saying people can figure it out or have any excuses that they want. But it's like when you live in a town that literally looks like hell because you don't take care of it. And then on 4th of July, you run to a nice town and just destroy it and nobody gets caught. Like this is the country that we live in. So outside of the conversation of immigration, like what are we doing in this country? Why have so many other countries fixed their crime problem? I'll tell you why they've done it. Because they tried. The El Salvador guy tried. They do it in Singapore. They do it in Dubai. They do it in China. I'm not saying that we need to go to the surveillance state level that these people have gone to, but they already have all this information. You understand what I'm saying? Like if I go to, let's just say I go to a Publix or a Ralph's and I rob it and I run away. I don't have privacy because I did it in public. Private, public, public, private. You understand? So they have cameras everywhere already. Everyone has cameras at every facility to stop crime, but they never do somehow. So, you have liberty and freedom in America, but you don't have the right to steal someone's car, break into someone's house, rob somebody's supermarket, rob some Indian dude's store. Like you don't have the freedom to do that. But people are doing that every day in America. Many cities are destroyed. And because nothing happens, they then move to other nice cities and start destroying those cities. My buddy told me, I'm not going to name the city, but he's like, dude, I went to college here. My friends went to college here. He goes, dude, I used to party here all the time. It's like insane. He's like, the streets are just filled with people that are up to no good, that are destroying the city, that nobody wants to go out. Nobody, like they're ruining multiple cities. They ruin their city. They go somewhere else. They start to ruin that city. That's interesting to me in the sense of like, when is an American president or politician or mayor or anybody, governor, going to say, listen, we don't care what you look like. We don't care about your skin color. We don't care about your religion. We don't, you have the freedom to all this stuff in America. It's the United States of America. You don't have the freedom to rob, to steal, to destroy, to make everything disgusting. Like I've lived in cities like Los Angeles and, I've lived in other places too, but you don't even pick up trash off the ground because there's so many. Everything else smells like shit. There's homeless people everywhere. There's feces. Most of the city is just completely filthy. Not all of it, but a lot of it is, especially like where I lived. I didn't live in the nice area for a long time. So it's like I've seen the real Los Angeles and there's no reason for that. It doesn't matter how much money you have. I didn't have any money. But I'm not doing that to the city, and no one should be doing that. And then I've seen places where everything's picked up because most people there are like civilized and they're like, yeah, I treat my neighbors with respect. Like why is that not more prevalent in America? And anybody that knows this is what, sorry, I'm on a big rant here, but this is what pisses me off about politicians, tech people and stuff. The reason that they don't care about this stuff is because they're so rich that they don't have to see it. Like if you have a boatload of money, you can buy a yacht, you can buy a jet. You don't have to hang out with people. You could stay at the nicest hotel that's $1,000 a night. So they don't care about these problems because they don't have to deal with them. And it used to be you can move to a neighborhood and get a safe, nice neighborhood if you just, move somewhere and you don't need a lot of money. There's parts of the country where that's true, but that's all changing because of all these weird liberal laws where if you build an apartment, now you have to build low income housing there. Or Gavin Newsom was going to like bring a bunch of people to Huntington Beach. He said he was going to do like, they're trying to like do all this weird crap where if somewhere's like pretty nice, they're like, what if we did this to it? And it's like, why would you do that? But in general, now you just need a lot of money to get away from this stuff. And that's not fair to most of the country if you're a leader and actually give a crap about your people. So Trump doesn't talk about this stuff that often because he's a billionaire, and a lot of people just don't want to be, they don't want to get on these people's radar because certain people act insane and who wants to be on their radar? But in general, like a real American leader would fix this stuff. There would be a message to every American to say, listen, I don't care what you look like. I don't care what race you are, what gender you think you are or say you are or literally are. I don't care what your politics are, what your religion are. But what I want this country to be, it's not going to be perfect, but nice, safe, and clean. If you're destroying the streets, you're going to jail. If you're robbing places, you're going to jail. If you're breaking into cars, you're going to jail. We will find you. We will catch you. There's already cameras everywhere in public. Like you go to get your gas, you're being recorded. I go to get a drink in a 7-Eleven, I'm being recorded. I'm being recorded everywhere I am in public because everyone has cameras. I'm not even complaining about it. I don't want flock cameras everywhere because I think they're nefarious, but I'm just saying it's like it shouldn't be that hard to catch people. I get an ad on my phone. I talk to somebody I haven't talked to in 5 years, and I get an ad on my phone of something I just talked to them in a different room about. It's like they know everything. But they just can't figure out the people destroying everything in this country. And the people that don't have a lot of money or want to live in the same town they grew up with, they're getting surrounded. It's like, my town's getting shittier. My town's getting weirder. It's getting less safe. It's changing completely. And there's nothing to really do except for try to get rich and move somewhere and avoid all of these problems. Like, that's like the only thing you can do. It's not fair to anybody. But no one wants to talk about it. And even in like, Republican, I would say states, it's like when I lived in a conservative county and a conservative city and a Democrat state, the loser mayor, the Republican mayor was like, I can't do anything. Gavin Newsom's stopping me. And it's like, oh, I guess our mayor has no power because Gavin Newsom controls his money or whatever. And then you get a red state and they're like, we're the governor, but we can't do anything because the Democrats own the cities. How do the Democrats, how is it that they get to do that when they're the governor, but they also get to do that when they run the city? Like, I don't even think Republicans care. They just suck off Israel. Like, they're not, one person, whether you like him or not, that I think is smart and did something was Bukele of El Salvador. He's young. He's not 90 years old and his skin's not rotting. And he sat there and was like, how do I make El Salvador nice? How do I stop crime? How do I get rid of all these gangbangers that are destroying the country? And then he thought about it and he did it. Anyone smart can do these things. You have technology, you have AI to help you out and ask, like, you can fix problems. You know what I'm saying? If I need to like fix my bed frame, I can ask AI or watch a YouTube tutorial. The information's out there to fix a lot of problems in this world. Bukele tried to do it and then he just did it. In China, I'm not saying they're perfect and I don't want to live there, but they do a lot of cool things because they just try to. They're like, we're Chinese, we're rich, we're communists. It's just us. It's an ethno state. Let's do all this crazy stuff. They're doing drone technology and all this like interesting stuff. In America, it's like no one has ambition to do that. Trump's doing crypto scams. He cares about his reflecting pool. Elon Musk, I think, realized he needed to cool it off for a year. He was pissing off the wrong people. You know what I'm saying? Like Lindsey Graham, while he was alive, just talked about Israel and Ukraine the whole time. It's like they're not trying. The reason that our problems don't get solved is because they're not trying. So for me personally, yeah, I could be mad at Democrats because they're definitely messing it up. But if Republicans can't win more, we're never going to get these things fixed. And I guess why I'm extra annoyed, not just because of the NDAA, why I wanted to rant, it was so hard to get people to understand the truth. And it's good because people are still understanding. So even if the politicians are failing, people get it. But like a lot of people work so hard to try to get the truth in the driver's seat again and to fend off a lot of the left-wing madness, which is, destroying a lot of cities, et cetera, the prosecutors. And we got a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a Republican presidency. I wasn't expecting the world. I know they're going to mess up. I know they're going to sell out a little bit, but what they're doing is disgraceful. They need to lose now. If they would have done 20% of what Trump said he was going to do in a good way and then just did a little sneaky stuff that wasn't this sneaky, I wouldn't be happy, but I'd be like, you know what? They're doing a better job than Democrats. Let's vote for them again, but then hold them accountable and tell them when they're wrong and try to get them to do the right thing. But they're not. Like what they're doing is so bad. Now they need to lose. We work so hard to shift the culture, and this is what Republicans do with it. We need to let them know that sucking off Israel isn't their job. It's Trump's job because he took hundreds of millions of dollars from Israeli donors. Between Sheldon and Miriam and the GOP and Trump, $424 million from Sheldon in the 2010s, 100 to 250 million from Miriam. It's at 100 million on paper. Trump said 250 million indirectly. 424, 250, if that's the amount, over $600 million possibly from one family that has an Israeli citizenship, and Trump thinks they like Israel more than America, even though that's one of the anti-Semitism laws he just broke. How can Trump possibly work for America when he took that much money? Like his main priority is what it should be for how much money he took, but it doesn't help us. They're not trying to solve our problems. They're not trying to solve our problems of wealth in this country. They're not trying to solve our problems of safety in this country. They're not trying to solve our problems of food quality in this country. They're not solving the problems of culture. They're not solving the problems of immigration, or how it's being done. Republicans are not solving any problem. The only thing they can offer is, I'm not them. I'm not Joe Biden. That's all they have to say is, I'm not him. And that's all the Democrats have to say is, I'm not Trump. That's all they have. But the younger Democrats are voting for communists who have no political experience because they think that they're going to be better than Nancy Pelosi. And who knows? I don't like Mamdani, but it's like, who was there before him? The skinny white dude who had changed his name or something. What was his name even? Like Bill. Who was the skinny, scrawny white mayor who was just a total loser and a libtard? Like they've been libtarded for years now. Kathy Hochul is running the state of New York. Like these people are disgrace. Like Kathy Hochul's like, I'm terrible, but I'm also pro-Israel. Is that so much better than Mamdani? It's like I have to choose. Yeah, De Blasio. Yeah, that's not. I don't even think that's his real name. He just changed his name or something to sound Italian. I don't know. But let me look up like De Blasio. Yeah, Bill De Blasio. Let me see. Warren Wilhelm Jr. Yeah, I guess Bill De Blasio. I don't know how you get that from Warren Wilhelm, but whatever. I think conservative libertarians and Republicans, and a lot of people are doing it, but I think we need to call out our side the most and really just let conservative influencers that don't talk about this, just let them know. Just like, the jig is up. We know what you're doing. It's not working. Republicans are fat. Like, can someone, if someone disagrees with me in the comments, can you let me know like what Republicans have done? I'm just curious. Like, so there's got to be somebody here listening to me just being like, no, I think they've done a lot. What have they done? Please, I'm going to wait like 30, 40 seconds because it's going to take some time. Like, what have they done besides like close the border wall when it was more open? I can't, like, Doge was a failure. They started the wars they said they weren't going to start. Gas prices are up. Prices are not better. The stock market's not doing nearly as good as Trump's pretending to it's doing. Like, no, they're not doing anything. I can't think of a single, like, I really wish I could find something where I'm like, you know what, they're doing this. I what have they done at all? Like, let's see. Someone said 0. Repeat regurgitating 2020. I mean, it's embarrassing what Trump did. He's like, I got the secret of 2020. China got voter rolls records that anyone could get. Are you going to punish them? No. Of course he's not going to punish them because he's lying through his teeth, or he's telling the truth. But what they did, anyone can just buy. Like, it's not even. It's so pathetic. Let's see. Eggs are down. Are they? I haven't noticed, but what, you save $1 on eggs or something? Dodge was just information giveaway. I don't know what that means. Someone said Republicans crash grinder when they go to. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. They're making money from bombs. Yeah. Don't worry, it's not just them and the lobbyists. I think even like Trump's family gets in on some drone companies, lucky them. They kicked Massey out. They've done lying, cheating, stealing. GOP's only job is to stop Americans from fighting global homo. And this is what I'll say too, is like, they're so detached from reality. Like, even a couple years ago, I mean, they've been a little detached to be honest, but it's like they don't even live in the same world as you, where they don't even realize it. Like, no one's telling Trump. All of these people feel so emboldened. It's actually fascinating how bad they are. Like, I knew they were going to be bad. I knew they were going to be corrupt. I was just like, okay, if Biden was like a 1 out of 100 for me and did like 100 evil things, maybe you guys could be like a 10 out of 100, like literally a 1 out of 10. And Biden was like a 0.1 out of 10. They can't do that. They're like, I actually think that this administration, it's hard to compare because the vaccine mandates and the lockdowns were just diabolical from Biden. Like, that's a level of evil I don't even want to relive. But I actually think Trump's administration, there's an argument to be made that they are more corrupt than Biden's administration, which is hard to even say. It's like comparing like two people that did insanely bad stuff and being like, which one's worse? It's like, I don't know. It's like, would you rather jump into a volcano or jump into a pit of piranhas? It's like, yeah, neither. I think Trump and his family are cashing out in crazier ways than perhaps even Biden. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. I think he's just as sold out. The only thing that he's not is like a shit lib, to like the highest extent. Everything else, like, I knew he would be bad. I probably had, out of anyone that voted for Trump, I probably had the lowest expectations. Everyone else was like, he's going to do all these things. I told people, I don't think he's going to do any of that. I think he's going to close the border. He's going to put RFK in a health position. And we have to roll the dice on this foreign policy. I'd have to rewatch the video, but I'm pretty sure I made no guarantees beside. And even with the border being closed, like, who knows? But I was like, I actually don't think he's going to do anything except for close the border. Everything else is a dice roll. And the dice roll was like snake eyes every time. It's like anything that I thought was a dice roll went in the worst possible direction. Like, I never had faith in it, but I was like, it'll be interesting to see what he does. It's not that interesting. It's really not. It's just, he's just so bad. His administration's so bad. Pete Hegseth is horrible. Kash Patel deals with criticism in an insane manner, like the way he operates and deals with stuff. I'm like, this is bad. I feel like the press secretary's annoying, but it's like, who cares? That's just like a position of just saying stuff. I wish I knew more thing. Someone said bombing Iran has been worse than the COVID psyop. I think that's debatable because they're both so evil. Like, I can't even think of a good analogy for it where I think you're right to believe that, but it's like the COVID psyop was bad. Operation Warp Speed was bad. Mandates were bad. Biden's, like, his handling of all that stuff was demonic. And Biden also oversaw the aid of Israel while they bombed tens of thousands of civilians. So it's like, this is the level of insanity that we're dealing with. Like, Iran is horrible. I think Trump is keeping the casualties lower than was happening during Biden's administration, but not by much. And that's not a game you really want to play, like counting how many civilians you blow up and how many wars you start. Like that's really bad. So I don't know. I I just think that Trump is at least as bad as Biden, but if you want to say he's worse, I think there's actually an argument for that. And I don't care at this point. I'm not gatekeeping. Someone said, "Are you kidding me? Bombing Iran was not worse than the COVID scam." I think if you just say the COVID versus Iran, it's just a really hard comparison to make. I think they're both equally as evil in messed up ways. But if you like, I don't know, Trump and Biden did both of them. So there's levels to what they each did. And I think people would be wise at this point to consider that it's not this random thing. Like I always said that about Trump. I was like, you want to believe he did this for this reason, but it's a lot of like cope. It would be like if there was like if you were standing next to me and I just slapped you in the face as hard as I could and you went unconscious, like power slap, and you liked me, and people were like, "Oh, Anomaly slapped that guy because there was a fly on his face and he was trying to kill the fly. He didn't mean to knock him unconscious." That's what you hope is true because you like me and you don't want to believe I'm a psychopath just knocking people unconscious with a slap. You understand like that's what people need to understand about Trump, and no one's going to admit this, by the way, but I was one of the only influencers on this side saying this in 2020 and 2021 and 2022. Almost no one said that. Even a lot of these libertarians, even a lot of these truthers, some of them said that, but a lot of them said, "Oh no, I believe that Trump had he must have done Operation Warp Speed for good reason." And like now the majority feels like it's on my side way more on these topics, but it used to not be that way. Like I remember when I felt like I was on an island by myself and everyone like I felt like it was literally the Truman Show where they're like, no, Operation Warp Speed saved the world. No, it didn't. It did this. Like I felt like people were hallucinating. It was like are you that big of a liar that then I question everything about you because it's like, listen, we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, but you're a journalist and you'd rather just be like, let me wish into existence what I wish Trump did. And that's what he did. To me, that's like a borderline mental illness. Like you're actually like schizophrenic. And that's what like 95% of Republican influencers were doing. It was crazy to me. I'm like, all Trump did, like, you just wish he did these things by a mistake, because then you could still say he's a good person and you like him. And that's easier for you to do than challenge your belief in Trump. But I always ask people, because like, why do you care so much about Trump? Like I liked him more than most people ever did in like 2017, 2018. But at the same time, it made me that much more upset at him when I realized he was a phony, where all these people like, you just really want to like him. And then some of these influencers, like I know what they do. Like they go to all these parties. I have other parties I could go to, I don't get invited to the Diddy parties. Don't worry, guys. I got my own baby oil. I'm just kidding. But jokes aside, but like they go to like Mar-a-Lago, they go to Turning Point. Like it's like prom for these people all year. Every event, every month they have an event they go to. The girls get to dress pretty and take Instagram selfies. The guys get to be cool and patriots, and I'm wearing a cowboy hat. So I'm like, are you guys just saying you don't understand what I'm saying because you want to go to these 12 events every year? Like, is that like, because you could say that you believe these things, and you might, because some other people do too. But I know for a fact, if you say the truth, what I'm saying, you're not going to get invited to these 12 events, probably, possibly, or it's going to be weirder when you're there because the people that are like bankrolling it and you're whining and dining with like the Shapiroites and stuff, and now they're going to think you're like Nick Fuentes or something, like, or I don't know, like I just never believed that people didn't know this stuff. Someone said, yeah, it's mad phony. That's what they do, though. Like any of these people, you know who I'm talking about, too. They're like, I'm in Mar-a-Lago. Yay. If you go to Mar-a-Lago and you talk about this stuff and you stand up for your country and you tell the truth, you don't have to be abrasive about it. Just do your job. The least abrasive way you could do your job would be to be like Ben Swann. You guys know Ben Swann? he's a great journalist, right? He's not abrasive. He's not rude. He's not doing too much. He's just doing his job. But Ben Swan doesn't get invited to all these parties because he's a true patriot and he actually does his job. These people just want to get invited to parties. It's not like, oh, I'm really winning for the culture, culture wars. So like they lie to themselves with their own ego because they know what they would lose if they ever like woke up. And people did that in media too. They're like, no, Anomaly, I just figured out what you said in 2025. Maybe that's possible. It's absolutely possible. But also, you made millions of dollars working for Zionists all those years. And then when it became profitable to talk about Israel in a different way, then you started talking about it. It could be that you just figured it out. But while you were making millions of dollars working for Zionists, I was losing money. I was getting banned. I was getting disinvited places. I wasn't allowed to have any of these sponsors. So it's possible that you did all those things and then figured out. But could it also be possible that people lie to themselves to make money and then, some people changed and some people didn't? Like at least people who changed and started talking about it. If it's true, it's true. I'm not gatekeeping. But I just like the timing of it to me feels super weird. Where it's like, oh no, he worked in television for 20 years and he just didn't figure it out till 2025. It doesn't make me dislike somebody. There's people I like. I like a lot of people that are like great at what they do, but I just find it really hard to believe that, I didn't see it at all. Possible. Political prostitution, someone said. Yeah. And, I've always talked about this because this is a great time to do it. On my show, obviously there's politics and stuff, but I don't just want to blame billionaires or politicians or sellouts because the truth is it's really all of us in a sense. It's like, you can look at somebody who does that, right, and say, oh, that person's going to Mar-a-Lago and make money. And I think it's super nefarious because it involves American politics. Like it's a level of deceit and subversion that I think is truly foul. However, how many people make $300,000 a year in a field that they think is terrible? How many people in this country hate the pharmaceutical industry and make money in the pharmaceutical industry? There's probably people watching the show that do that. I'm not trying to shame. I'm just saying big pharma has a lot of money. They're the reason a lot of people get money. So people work for them just because that's the only job available. I'm not saying that you're as bad as a news person, but we all just have to be honest. It's like, there's a lot of people that do things that they don't believe in order to make money. I've worked jobs that I didn't want to do to make money. I can't think of anything I've done that like is on that level. Me personally, like I never worked for big pharma. I worked at like supermarkets and stuff, random jobs, social media, but we all have to, there's a lot of people, this is what annoys me about the fake opposition right, is it's all finger pointing, zero self-reflection. And if they even did 30% self-reflection, they would realize that they're just as big of pieces of garbage as the left-wingers they hate. And if the left-wingers did self-reflection, they would realize the same thing, if there was even a little bit of that. So there's a lot of people in politics that everything that they accuse of others and everything that they project onto the left or the right, whether they're left or right, they are also awful, So I'm not claiming to be the greatest person ever, but I'm just saying, like, I think about all this stuff where it's like, as a nation, we need to make it cool to not do that. It needs to be cool. And it's starting to get that way. It really is. But it's like, it needs to be cool to not sell out, take money from certain places, and if that and it's similar to supermarkets when everything's shitty food, but then people want healthier food. And the more like chips used to be all canola oil and all bad oil. Now that people want avocado oil or, they don't want to eat seed oils or they want something better, more of the chips are changing their ingredients to that, the supply and the demand. So I think everyone just needs to really think about it. It's like we all can't be perfect. There's sacrifices you have to make for your family all the time. And, a lot of people in this country do jobs they don't like. That's normal. I don't even like doing some things I have to do, like just editing and stuff like that. But in general, if you're going to criticize politicians for selling out, then we need to not do that. We need to make doing the right thing cool. And in politics, it's like, I'm not sitting here nannying everything you do. Like, don't drink alcohol, don't do that. It's like everyone does things that they maybe shouldn't or whatever. It's with politics, it's pretty cut and dry. It's like the First Amendment's pretty awesome. Don't pass a speech law for Israel. You know, stop printing trillions of dollars. Stop enriching yourself and your family while our oil prices go up, but you don't really care because you're starting a war for a donor who gave you $300 million. Like these are pretty easy to point out, and it's things that most people wouldn't do. But I think when our nation gets right, and that's why even with the conservative stuff that I was talking about, how they think they need to like spread LGBT to Iran and feminism. They won't say that they're doing that, but that's literally what they want to do. They say they're too conservative with their women. They're too conservative with homosexuality. We want to push more of that in these Muslim countries. That's what Christian conservatives are saying because they're listening to Zionists on television. It's insane. Like, what? You want to be the light in your country that shines to the rest of the world. You don't want to be the country pushing gambling, pornography, prediction markets, OnlyFans, usury loans, debt, like some of the most, like the stuff that we're doing in America is so disgraceful that a lot of countries in Asia would never do that. They would like throw up in their mouths if they ever heard what we do to our own people. It's disgusting. But then obviously certain people on the left don't care. But when 50% of the Republican base wants to spread that to the rest of the world because they heard Jeffrey Epstein's friend on television tell them they need to go blow people up in order to like save America. Like, this is why our country is suffering. It's not just financial or political, it's spiritual. Like, change yourself to change the world. Change your countrymen to change the country. It's not just the politicians and the elites. Yes, they're capitalizing off this and pushing it, but we don't, if they try to do this in like China or Japan or most Muslim countries, not all of them, but most of them, it wouldn't, like, it's not even a thought. It would never happen because the people there have, connection. It's the same reason we weren't able to beat Afghanistan. We have all the weapons, all the military, the army, the Navy. We have everything. We have technology. Yet 20 years later, trillions of dollars wasted. We just give it back to the Taliban. How were we not able to beat the Taliban? Because we don't even know what game we're playing. We're out there doing 50 million different things. We're in Syria. We're in Libya. We're here. We're in Ukraine. We're there. So the people in the Taliban and in Afghanistan were like, this is my country. This is my religion. These are the things that I believe. This is my devotion to God. And we're all over the place, all over 20 years, trillions of dollars, everything. We don't even know how to beat them because you can't win a game that you're not playing right. And you have no idea of what you're doing. So we gave it right back to them. And that's a lot of these countries. I don't want to live there. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Middle Eastern. It's not my people. But what I'm trying to get to Christian conservatives is this used to be you. The Zionists telling you that, oh, it's only Muslims that are conservative and reject this stuff. Christians rejected this stuff from the time of Jesus Christ until like the 1950s, everywhere, all over the world. Don't let the Zionists convince you that only Islam is conservative when it comes to women, or only Islam is conservative when it comes to all of these other things. I'm not saying you're as conservative as Islam because the Bible says what it says and the Quran says what it says, and they're not the same religious text. But what I'm saying is Christians are being psyoped by Zionists into thinking if I see a place where there's no feminism, that's Islam. We got to make it more like us. More like us? We're not even us. How are we going to make someone else like us when we're not even us? Like, what does Christian and conservative mean to you? What does it mean to you? Does it mean sitting there drinking beer, getting fat, listening to Sean Hannity, telling your kids to go die for Israel in a foreign war, blowing up schools, funding a country that kills civilians and journalists? Is that what conservative means to you? Is that what Christianity is to you? And then these same people are complaining about Islam. When people see disgusting slobs like you and you're calling yourself a Christian and a conservative, they run to Islam because they're like, Christianity is pathetic. And then they run to Islam. The best way to stop Islam from rising in your country and in Christian nations is by stopping being so pathetic. Like most young men, it's like, why are they listening to Andrew Tate? Because you're pathetic. Why are they listening to Nick Fuentes? Because you're pathetic. Like they're going to go somewhere else to listen to somebody if you're that pathetic. So like the Christian Zionist slop, where they're like, if you think these things, that you must be Islam. You're trying to erase Christianity with this Zionist propaganda to make Christians and conservatives think that only Islam did this. In Christian nations, women used to dress moderately. Now a woman will get fake titties, put them out at the gym, and be like, I can't believe people are hitting on me. It's like your nipples are showing through your shirt and you got fake titties. I'm not saying they don't look good. I'm just saying people might say something about it because you literally got surgery to get your tits to go out further and your nipples are showing through your shirt. It's like, wow, in these countries, women, they cover up. They used to do that in America too. Not with a burqa, with, church clothes, and then when you're around your husband, then you show off your titties so your husband can do it. It's like, spoiler alert, if you're a woman with some big honkers and your titties are throwing through your shirt, you're going to turn guys on. Sorry. It would be like if I walked around with I don't know, if I walked around in underwear or something and my dick was hanging out, it's like, I can't believe women are looking at me. It's like, really? At least just be self-aware about it. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's like, that's the country we live in now. It's like, can you believe in that Islamic country? Like the women don't prostitute themselves. And it's like, your wife is on Instagram taking selfies with big titties without you in the picture with her nipples out. Who is that possibly for? There's people that are like, have girlfriends and stuff, and they're just like hot and they're just like taking selfies all the time by themselves. It's for the world. It's for every guy to look at and get attracted to. Sorry. It's like, can you believe they don't have OnlyFans and pride parades in Tehran? This is what Christian, like, it's one of the biggest psyops of the whole year, where Zionists will say, if you notice that what they're doing is completely subversive, they'll try to say it's only Islam to erase Christianity. Christian nations are still like that all over the world, the ones that haven't been subverted. You're free in Christian nations. It's not like you're a slave or anything, but at the same time, liberty, freedom, and what you should do are different things. You have the liberty to do everything, but when enough of the public is a certain way, then it becomes more status quo to do that. It's not to shame anybody for doing what they can in this world. It's just in general, like there is no push from conservatives to do anything in this country. I mean, to be fair though, in Republican states, they do block pornography and stuff. So there are Christians, it does make a difference, So that's why if people do want to vote for certain things, it makes sense. There's a lot of Republican states where they block out pornography and they won't let you see stuff. And then liberal states, it's whatever you want to do, and it's you could say that you're losing your freedom to look at that in certain states, but at the same time, it's do you need that? Is this what we want as a nation? Other countries, they wouldn't want any of this stuff. They wouldn't want mass gambling everywhere. They wouldn't want that. So our nation needs to have an identity. What is our identity? The left, their identity makes no sense to me. The right, their identity is just sucking off the Israel lobby and not knowing anything. Someone mentioned Sophie Rain. I saw her tweet something about Nick Fuentes the other day, and it's it would be hilarious if she liked Nick, but I wouldn't even be surprised, because even these chicks that are on OnlyFans, chicks are chicks. They know, you know what I'm saying? They know what they like. They know what they want. I'm not saying she loves them or anything, but some chicks are super liberal. But at a certain point, when you're a girl, and if you're honest, you realize, not all conservatives are right, because some of them are annoying. But at the end of the day, that is what I want. I do want a man to provide for me. I don't want to be a feminist. I don't want to be a libtard, So there's a lot of chicks that have OnlyFans that are super based because they're just honest. They're like, this is what I'm doing, but I'm not stupid. It's everyone, I've had people watch my show and be like, yo, Anomaly, I'm trans and I agree with you. It's like, all right, you know, whatever floats anybody's boat. I'm not like, I'm just being honest. Like, if people want to play games or not, like, that's for them. Like, you know, there's a lot of women who they're like, yeah, I'm doing this because it can be done, but you know, in a normal society, I wouldn't be doing this, or you know, I'd have another job, or I'd have a husband. But you know, since this is the way, and here's another thing too, I'm gonna just really go there again, but it's like if you're a woman, there's a lot of things you can do, but this is the dichotomy. And I'm not saying these are the only things, because like you can be a wife, you can have a job, you can be a CEO, you could start an OnlyFans, you could not start OnlyFans. There's all these paths you can go, but because this country ideologically now, like even the Christian conservative men and women are like feminist libtards and they don't even know it. They think they're like conservative, but they're not. It's like these are the options that women and girls have. At a certain point in this country, it's like the mother and father would be like, I don't want you to go to college to like try to be this Sheryl Sandberg, the CEO of Facebook, and a career woman and work until you're 60. I want you to get married. So if you find a good guy, bring him home to us, and then we'll decide whether we're going to like pass you off to him, and then, you know, give our daughter to this man to start his own family and create it. Like that was what people thought was the next step. Now, if you're a woman and your parents say, hey, go to college, and you're like, yeah, I want to go to college. I want to get my education. That's fine. You know, I went to college too. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long. West Virginia University. I apologize. Too much partying going on. But if you go to college, it's like, what are you in college for? Well, to learn, then to get a job and make money. And it's like, as a woman, you know, especially if you're an impressive woman, there's other options out there. You know, it's like, you know, you're telling this person, oh, go be an intern and work for some guy for free for 40 hours. But don't start an OnlyFans, but don't, you know, go for this guy who's wealthy, who will take care of you. Go work as an intern for free for this really rich guy who probably treats you like garbage, but then you're low key kind of into it if he's attractive. And then it's like, okay, now work for $15 an hour. Now go be a bartender, when there's way easier ways for you to make money. You're throwing women into a workforce in this competition cyclone, where back in the day, that was like not the option for 80 to 90%. It's not to say you couldn't. Amelia Earhart flew planes. People did stuff. It's not like no one was allowed to do anything. It's just most people, that wasn't status quo, because in a Christian society, it doesn't make sense. So it's like, you can do it. Everyone's different. You know, like there's going to be people that play different sports, that love different things, and everybody celebrates that. We all love great people. We like great female athletes and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, this is what most people will do because it just makes biological sense. That's been stripped away. And all these Republican, conservative Christian parents are just slobs watching Zionist media. Like they don't actually think about any of this stuff. So then it's like, you know, I don't judge any woman for doing anything. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything, but you get what I'm saying. It's not like I don't even like blame them, like, oh, why'd you do this, why'd you do that? It's like that the world that people think you're putting them into isn't really the real world. So then when they go out there, it's like the option that you're like, oh, that's the normal option. It's not normal. This is the traditional option. It's not traditional. This is the safe option. There's nothing safe about it. So it's like, either you just got to either do that for a long time or find somebody and then not do that, you know? So it's like, they're like Sophie Rain, you know, it's like she could have been a bartender for 10 years. She could have worked somewhere else and made like $100,000. Instead, she made $100 million just teasing dudes on the internet. I'm not saying it's biblical. I'm not saying it's right or Christian or conservative or American or whatever. But you know, you sent this chick out into the world and told her to like get a job and make money. And then she got a job and made more money than anybody. And it's like, if that wasn't even an option and like pornography wasn't so prevalent, she would never have done that. She probably would have done something else. So is it really like her fault or any of these people's fault? Like nothing is anyone's fault if that's the world they're coming into. Like, you know, that is the status quo. That is the normal. And people are starting to learn. Liberal chicks, OnlyFans chicks, conservative chicks, working chicks, all sorts of chicks, are starting to figure out like there is something to finding someone to, work in other ways with, instead of working these jobs and doing these things forever. Because once you just do something like that forever, then it's just like that's what you're doing, and then you're 30, then you're 40, and like it never ends. So I personally think that this is why I don't listen to a lot of Republican podcasts and stuff too. I like Tucker and a few people, but they're always making fun of people like this. They're making fun of liberals. They're making fun of chicks who do stuff. They're making fun of like college students who are confused because the men in their life that left them to do whatever they wanted. But then they're just sucking off Israel, and they're, like, oh, I don't like when a college girl, is a lesbian, but I love Scott Bessent, the gay guy who used to work for George Soros because Trump hired him. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the Republican person who's mean spirited about this stuff is so annoying, because they're mean spirited in a way to get people to dislike them. But then that same person who's like making fun of like a 20-year-old with an OnlyFans account, or like a 19-year-old who's like a confused libtard at college, that same Zionist Republican podcaster who will make fun of them will then make the case 15 minutes later and be like, can you believe Iran doesn't have pride parades and Iran has conservative women? We need to blow them up because they're a threat, and they need more freedom and liberty here. It's like, what, these people make no sense to me. And what I'm saying, I think to a lot of people, it's either like, oh, I never thought of it that way, or like, oh no, this guy's making a lot of sense. But to those who don't understand, what I'm saying can be confusing, because the entire way they've set up the matrix is completely rigged against reality, biology, human nature, Christianity, Islam, and other religions. And it's not, it's like the world that they've laid out for us. Obviously the left is easy to make fun of, and it's like, it's inverted, it's totally wrong. But even the right is inverted. So that's an even harder matrix to uncover, because it's easy to be like, the left's wrong, the right's right. It's like, no, in my opinion, the right is socialist. Operation Warp Speed is socialist. Combining intel with the government is socialist. Foreign aid is socialism. Merging our military, in my opinion, is like traitorous. I mean, that's not even socialism. That's beyond. So like, Trump is a socialist in almost every way. He prints money. He spends it around. He does all sorts of government programs. There's nothing capitalist about Trump. He has all the downsides of capitalism and then all the downsides of socialism. So Trump is politically a socialist and a shit lib. Socially, I don't think he has any stance on anything that matters. He'll just be like, build a wall, cool, but he doesn't say anything profound. So it's like, he's got all these people think they're living in this like Christian conservative timeline because they're so mean about it. But in reality, it's like, I could be more that way, but get someone further left to like me because I'm not a piece of garbage, and I'm not saying it in a mean-spirited way because I'm not a mean person. I don't care what somebody is. If you're chill, I'm chill to you. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care. We all have problems. We all make do things. So it's like, I'm not a mean person, but there's mean-spirited in order to get everyone to hate them. But they're actually shit lib, socialist, Zionist inverters cosplaying as like Christian disciples. Like, there's nothing right wing about Trump. I mean, you could say he's right wing in the sense of like every fake shitty right wing leader in history or something. Yeah, he's like that. But as it's, and I'm not even saying like, oh, he's really left wing. He's just controlled opposition. I don't know. He's like half cosplaying as like a conservative leader who they think is fascist, but he's not. But he's not, and then it's like Nancy Pelosi, she like, what is she? She's like, I'm moderate. It's like, moderately corrupt, extremely corrupt. Like, you could put a word and a label on everything. You can call Trump what you want, but he's not, there's nothing enticing about him to Christian conservative besides the fact that he's just slightly better than these people. And when Republicans run states and counties, they do a better job. Like you know, I want to live in Republican counties, preferably in Republican states at this point. Why? Prosecutors prosecute crimes. Liberals don't seem to care about crime. Everything's dirty in their cities. If you want to live in a dirty city, you can. I'm over it. I want to live around civilized people who don't commit crimes. And, I want the police to hold down the city and make sure that nobody's robbing and stealing stuff. That's what I want. And I've noticed that happens way more in conservative counties, conservative cities, conservative towns. And if you have a conservative state also, it's a little bit better than a Gavin Newsom, because Gavin Newsom can try to subvert a little harder. But the problem is, I recognize that. I appreciate that. That's what I want. But on a national level, it's all Zionists, and that's annoying. So, it's like, I get both sides. Like, as much as I've complained about Republicans the whole time, I want to live in a Republican county in a Republican state where the police and the prosecutors do their job, not to harass people over privacy, to stop people. Like, this country is falling apart in many cities. In some cases not, but like, I'm very anti-theft. I'm anti-car theft, house theft. I feel like I'm not impressed enough by most like Republican, politicians, but I guess nationally there's only so much they can do. Locally, like, I don't want some scrawny, skinny liberal mayor who's like, yeah, let's let him out of prison. It's like, bro, I'm all for giving people another chance, but there's just certain people that they can't stop stealing. They can't stop robbing. They can't stop breaking into stuff. They can't stop destroying stuff. I want to live around builders. I want to live around, nice people. When I talked to an Uber driver when I went to San Jose, he was literally, he's from Spain, and he said, he lived in San Jose, which is next to San Francisco. He goes, nobody's Christian here, not because he needs to be around people of his religion, but he was like, like the Christian morals. He was from Spain. He was like, in Spain, like, Christians act a certain way. Like, Spanish people, like, there's a certain like love and joy and respect for your community that we have there. And he was like, in San Francisco, he's like, everything's like demonic. Everything is inverted. Everybody just wants to use you. I don't have any friends. There's decent people there. It's not like there's no good people in California. There's a lot of great people there. And there's a lot of great people in that area. I know a lot. But I told him, I was like, bro, you got to go somewhere else. You don't understand it's not that people are bad, but the system is bad. The Democrats are bad. And a lot of people are also bad. And there's no one to help the good people. But if you go to a lot of times a Republican city or a Republican county in a Republican state, or find even a Republican county in a blue state, you see that shift. You're like, oh, it was just there, So it's like the people make the area, but also you can't have like these like shit lib governors just like sending a bunch of people to your city and like flooding it with people that are going to destroy it. You need like civilized people. And I've noticed, like, I've seen different places in the country, when you have an area where a lot of people are Christian, the culture changes. Like, I lived in a few different places, but I noticed in certain places, like, no one would really say hi that much. Like, I'm a very optimistic, joyful person. So I tend to like not look at the negative as far as like, I don't like it here. I always like wherever I am, wherever I'm traveling, wherever I'm living, I try to make the most of it. And I try to like block out, like, I don't, it's like, you can't be a victim. So I'm like, whatever, but I like, when you travel and move and do other things, I'm like, wow. Like, in certain places, I was the only one holding open the door. I was the only one doing this stuff. I was the only people saying hi. And then you move somewhere that's more Christian and more, actually like about it. And you're like, oh, most people do that here. That's like the culture, just like Chick-fil-A. It's like they close on Sunday. They go to church, after church, they're more into the Lord. They're more into their community. The police here actually do their job, and there is no like subversive thing where they have to not do this because of this, or, when I lived in California, my friend's art studio got broken into, and he was like, bro, we had the guy on camera and the police couldn't do anything. Like, it's California rule. Like, he could just break into my art studio and then nothing happened. Like, all that stuff is gone. So locally, in my opinion, I like to be in Christian conservative areas, but nationally, the Christian conservatives have been subverted by donors and a group of people who want to use us in order to do things that are anti-Christ, anti-America, anti-Christian, anti-constitutional, anti-First Amendment, anti-sovereignty. And the least we could do is just point it out. And I think, there is a strength in numbers, and there's a lot of people that are figuring it out. They really are. And if I can contribute to that in any way, I've gotten a lot of messages where it's like, oh, you were right about that. But I got one yesterday. He was like, you were right about everything. I'm sorry. I was like, I'll take it. I don't even know who you are or like what you said to me. Maybe you got pissed at one point, but I was like, I don't want to stroke my own ego. I was like, I'm right about everything. But I was like, listen, that's a nice message. That's a nice, like, to know that there's at least even one person out there that was like, okay, I hated what you used to say, but now I see it. I'm like, that's all I need to hear. That's good. That means that's just one more person on our side. YouTube Yuri Bezmenov. Yeah, if you've never heard Yuri Bezmenov's interview with G. Edward Griffin, if you can find like the long one, it's one of the best. It's one of the best interviews of all time. If I were giving out awards, it would definitely be top 5. My favorite interviews of all time would be, I'm in no order. I'm gonna say G. Edward Griffin talking to Yuri Bezmenov. Fantastic. 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. I really enjoy, I've said this before, it's been a while, but Louis Farrakhan getting interviewed by Mike Wallace on 60 Minutes in 1996. I'm not really sure, but if you Google or YouTube Louis Farrakhan, Mike Wallace, they interviewed Louis Farrakhan after the Million Man March. It's one of the best interviews because everything is so, I'm trying to think of the right word. There's a lot of foreshadowing. That's what I'm looking for. There's a lot of foreshadowing because Mike Wallace is talking to Louis Farrakhan and he says, you went to Iran, you went to Libya, you went to Iraq. And it's like Louis Farrakhan was pissing them off because they killed Saddam. They killed Gaddafi. They killed the leader of Iran. But Farrakhan was hanging out with them 25 years ago when they were all alive. It's just historically a fascinating interview because he was doing all of these things against their foreign policy that they didn't want, calling him anti-Semitic, calling him racist, all these things. And, Farrakhan is a really good public speaker. He can be very charming when he's not trying to be abrasive. And I think it's like a must watch. You got to see that. That one and Yuri Bezmenov, classics. Those are in my top 5 for sure. I'd have to think about others. Someone said, I hated you for a while, but it was just Tucker's demon and it's gone now. I don't know what that means, but I guess thank you for not hating me. That's good progress there. I remember you saying that. I still need to watch it. Oh, it's so good. Honestly, like I could watch it tonight. There's parts of it like I haven't memorized, but there's so many, like, once again, I'm not gonna think for people, but if you've never heard Farrakhan talk and you've only heard horrible things about him, it is what it is. But whether you like him or not, he's one of the best like public speakers and interview speakers. The way just the way he speaks, the timing, the smoothness of it, like what he's saying, how he says it is just like top tier. It's definitely like brilliant, just communication skills. Yeah, he's good at the violin too, for sure. But yeah, like in that interview, they're like, so Farrakhan, are you an anti-Semite or whatever? And he goes, listen, there are good and bad Muslims. There are good and bad Christians. Can I not say that there are good and bad Jews? I butchered it a little, but the way he said it, it was so like hilarious. And then like Mike Wallace is like, "You think there's good and bad Muslims?" And he's like, "Yes, of course." And then Mike Wallace goes, "Who are the good and bad Muslims? Who are the good and bad Christians? Or who are the good and bad Jews? Like, how do you know?" And he goes, "Only God knows who is good. I don't know." Like it's just so like, I love hip hop, I love rap, I love lyrics, I like speaking, I talk a lot, obviously for my job. I like greatness. I like great athletes. I like the World Cup. I'm into sports. He's great. I don't, like you could say what you could say you don't like him, you could say he's mean. He's a great speaker. And the way he says things, like as somebody who talks all the time, he's a top 5 like public speaker. If you've never seen his, I mean, maybe I'll try to find it. When he was talking about during 2020 about the lockdowns and stuff, he goes, "Bill Gates, Melinda," like, and he pauses for like 10 seconds in front of all his people. He's just like, "You want to do this to the world with vaccines? Who the hell gave you that right?" Like, he's just such a good public speaker, and he was just cooking Bill Gates. Is so fire. But, I feel like Farrakhan is a top 5 public speaker, whether you like him or not. Zionists and people like that really hate him. Some white people don't like him because, his race stuff. But I can't like, I'm not like a fan of like Cristiano Ronaldo, but he's a great soccer player. I'm not like a fan, but Farrakhan's a great. Have I ever watched George Carlin stand up? I haven't seen his full stand up, but I've seen so many clips of George Carlin. Another one, he's great, Like I know there's some people that are like he was too liberal or whatever. George Carlin was great, he was great at telling jokes, but what really made George Carlin like a top tier great was not his comedy or humor. It was like his message. Like he was almost like preaching um really important social narratives through his comedy in a way that most comedians could never. And George Carlin was another one for sure. That's a great one. He was just so in command of his words. When you see someone like a George Carlin, like a 4-minute rant about something and it's just spot on, you're just seeing greatness. Someone in their flow state, just executing comedy and precise truth telling to a top tier, to a 10 out of 10, like iconic world class level. How could you not like at least 3 clips of George Carlin? Definitely a legend. That's a great addition to the list. Thank you guys. See, that's why I like the longer live streams. They're not like strategically great probably, but it's like when you get deep into a late live stream, you start to get some gems. Whether you're a liberal or conservative, like if conservatives weren't saying the things George Carlin was, then who cares if he was or wasn't? Like he was right about that. So everyone needs to have less ego so they can learn from other people. Like if you're a conservative Christian, but a non-Christian says something true or great, and it's real and it's raw and it's righteous, then why reject it? Why not point out the greatness of it, So it's like these things don't really matter to me. There's a lot of things I disagree with Chappelle on, but I like Chappelle. He's cool. I don't think he's reached like the Carlin level of iconic, but I think he's funnier. He's way funnier than George Carlin, but Carlin was definitely like the meaning behind it was just unmatched. Someone said he was anti-Jesus. I mean, he's not my pastor, and I don't watch this whole. I didn't watch this whole comedy thing, but like I'm trying to think of like a good George Carlin one. I think he talked about like viruses or something because it was going viral during COVID. The whole thing was spot on. It's like I don't have to. He's not my evangelist. He's not my pastor. I don't have to agree with everything he ever says, but if someone says the sky is blue, but they're not a Christian and they said something bad about Jesus, it doesn't mean that the sky's not blue. So some people can't separate that. I understand that. But for me, if I see a 5-minute clip of him not saying anything negative about Jesus and just crushing, I'm not going to not like it. That, that's just not going to happen. But others, you could completely block them out and say he never did anything good. I don't know. It's up to you. But yeah, I see some other people saying stuff. I think he was really right about a lot of things, and then I think some things he was wrong about, but I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. Some of it aged really well, some of it didn't, but I would say a lot of it aged like so well that it's just never going to not be relevant. So there's something to be said about making a timeless statement about anything. Someone said, don't purity spiral. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Like I said, I haven't heard like all of his stuff, but from what I have heard, it's just like some top tier moments. It's not going to change my opinion on that. James Tellerico's your favorite Christian? Really? I've only seen like little clips of him, but I'm not feeling the vibe personally. He also talked about white people should get blanked and blanked by blacks and Indians. Like I said, I do think he was kind of very liberal. But I guess here's my question for Christians and conservatives. Were there any Christians and conservatives on his level? And if not, why? Like, why did he figure out other things that were true outside of, his opinions about that? And why? I don't know. Sometimes certain people see certain stuff and certain people don't, and I can't figure out why. It's almost like certain people are like lab created characters or something, where it's like they're really good at this, but they're not good at that. And then this person like gets all of that. Similar to, let's just say George Carlin were alive now. Would he have still been liberal? And would he have stopped being funny? And would he have locked himself in his house and gotten 7 vaccines? And it's possible he could have been that guy, and then he would have sucked. If he were born in this generation and was really liberal, he probably wouldn't have been funny. Maybe he would have figured out that liberals are not as free speech happy as they used to be. We'll never know, but I think the liberal of that era, while it may not have been nice what they were saying, the stakes weren't as high and the leftism wasn't so far developed. I'm sure that also subverters, as people were pointing out in the comments, like George Carlin because he was cursing a lot. I think they were trying to push like filthy language onto people. So some people are an enigma, they're just, it's like Freddie Mercury was like super gay, but are you going to say he didn't make bangers? Like who else could make Bohemian Rhapsody? Like, that's such a good song. It's like, I'm sure the subverters loved that he was gay and like pushing it to the masses. But at the same time, everybody just liked his songs because they were just so good. I don't know. Everything in life is not, I don't know. Some things have to be everything at once to be exciting, or else everything would be the same. Someone said, don't do this. You're smarter and better than your rake on Carlin. I feel like everyone's putting words into my mouth. Like you guys are acting. I don't even know what side you're coming from. So it's hard to really tell, but it's like, are you coming from the side of you think I agree with everything he ever said or did? You could say what you want, but it would be like saying Lionel Messi wasn't good at soccer because, he works for Bibi Netanyahu. I'm not saying he does, but it doesn't change like a top corner strike. You could pretend like Carlin didn't hit the nail on the head with a few topics if you want to pretend that, but I'm not going to pretend that he didn't do that because he did. So like, if that bothers you, if I can't separate things I don't like with just like a gem, it would be like if you found out like Alexander Graham Bell was a homosexual and you're like, the telephone sucked. I can't believe you like the telephone. It's like, all right, you can not like it if you want, but the telephone was at least at first a good invention. Like it's, I mean, like people always, there's two things. There's what I actually said and what I actually think, and then what people pretend like I said and think. So I don't know. It is what it is. I can't really. Someone said Chappelle is less anti-white than Carlin by a lot. Well, like I said, I mean, I'm not writing an essay on why they were the greatest leader of our time. It's just like Chappelle's funny. Carlin was super on point on a lot of topics. Like his stance on white people is not going to change that. There's people out there that, you know, I don't agree with their stance on white people, but they're good at other stuff. Like I don't know how admitting that changes anything. Like I don't have to adapt all of their stances to admit that some people are good at, like LeBron. I don't know what he thinks about anything. He pretends to read every book. He's like, I'm reading a Malcolm X book. It's like, you're always on page 1, LeBron. How come LeBron never gets to page 2? Am I going to sit and say he's not great at basketball? Like, I don't get what you're getting at. It's like if I'm a super fan and my entire like room is like LeBron quotes, then maybe, you know, you have a point, but it's not really that. Let's see. At least this live stream doesn't make your phone buffer. Well, that's good. I ate dinner earlier, but I was gonna like actually eat dinner, but now it might be too late for me to eat dinner. I don't know if I should eat this late, but whatever. LeBron's a diva. Yeah, but he is really good at basketball. No one's ever been as good as he is at his age. I want to make a LeBron versus Jordan video because obviously I think I'm right, or I wouldn't say it, but it's subjective. I think Jordan was more clutch, and I think he knew how to win more. And at the end of the day, you are there to win. So like, you're not just there to score points and do stuff. LeBron is one too, but like, I just think to me, Jordan was the greatest, at least like of the two, because he had something that like doesn't show up necessarily in his physique or in, oh, well, LeBron's better at this. It's like, but Jordan knew how to win. Like either you do or you don't. LeBron won too, but LeBron is the best like physical player. Like no one's ever been as like physically gifted as him and as good as him, but you know, he just didn't have that like psycho clutch gene. But at like 40, whatever he is, dude, he's so good still. No one's ever been that old and that good. Not even close. Like Jordan at that age, if he even played, I remember he came back on the Wizards. I don't know how old he was. He was nothing like that. Like it's insane how good LeBron is. You know, LeBron is insanely good in a lot of different ways, but Jordan to me is better just because he's like, he knew how to win. And not that this is about, not to make it about myself, but you know, when I play stuff, like some people, it looks good and this and that. Yeah, it's great. If you have good form like Steph Curry, or, you know, you're like huge like LeBron and can do all this, that's great. Like absolutely it helps. But at the end of the day, like what is the name of the game? Win the game. I want to win. You know, if I'm playing, I don't care what it looks like. Obviously I want it to look better. And Jordan did look good when he played. Like he had great form. But at the end of the day, like there's the people that say LeBron is better. It's like, ooh, he's more physically gifted. I'm sure there's a physically gifted tennis player out there who never was as good as Djokovic. Like it's about winning. Djokovic's the best tennis player. I think Messi is the best soccer player at this point. It's case closed because of how good he's been playing. And I think Jordan's was the best, at least in my era. I couldn't see Wilt Chamberlain. They say Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points, but they didn't record it. It's like, maybe Wilt Chamberlain scored a lot, but I didn't see it, so I can't speak on that era. I didn't see Kareem play. I wasn't alive, so I think Jordan's the GOAT. Winning matters more. Someone said he was a degenerate gambler. Yes, I think competitive people, they like to compete all the time. I like to compete all the time too. Unfortunately, I never had my NBA career like Jordan, so I'm underachieving. But yeah, Jordan's a madman, but he's psychotically competitive about everything, including when he played. Someone said Jordan's better, but there's nuances that younger people can't comprehend. Yeah, but I think part of it is that if you've never seen him play or didn't understand it, that's one thing. But I also just think it's like some people value other things. For me, of course, I think being really like I'll give you an example. I'm a Knicks fan, so I was actually really happy about the Knicks winning. Jalen Brunson's awesome and everything, but like with Carmelo Anthony, I never, if he's watching this, not Carmelo Anthony that stabbed the guy. I'm talking about the guy that played on the basketball. I never liked Carmelo Anthony because he just looked like he was good, and I could tell he was never good. Like when it was the playoff time, he was lazy on defense. He didn't dive on the floor. Like Jalen Brunson wants to win so bad. So does Josh Hart. So does OG Anunoby. Like the Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns. I never liked Carmelo. Like he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, he's great. He's good at basketball. He's good at shooting and running, but he never wanted to win that bad. It just felt like he was out there to like score points and make money. Jordan wanted to win so bad. He'd probably tackle you into a wall if it meant he could win. So, LeBron is great, but some people value just like how you look out there. Like, oh, he's so good. Yes, but Jordan would beat him because he wants to win worse. I think even like Kobe. I don't know that I'd say he's better than LeBron, but LeBron to me is like he's good, but I don't know. It's just not the same. Like some people just have like I gotta win really bad. LeBron's like if LeBron had Jordan's mindset, he probably would have won 10 championships. That settles it. If he wanted to win as bad as LeBron, as Jordan wanted to win, like literally as bad and had that psycho clutch gene, he'd have 10 to like 12 rings. But I don't know. Zach LaVine, someone said, that's a great example of somebody who's like insanely good at scoring, but like just the rest of it just can't put it together for some reason. I want to say it. I have like another take now that we're talking sports. Sorry if this is boring you, but not sorry to the people that are not bored. I have a hot take with football that I feel like nobody will agree with. If you are my age or older than me or anywhere in the realm of you are watching Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and all those people, when they were playing, nobody thought Tom Brady was better than Peyton Manning. Like Tom Brady was not even considered a good quarterback. People don't know that now. People that never watched Tom Brady play don't realize that like it took Tom Brady winning like 6 times for people to even think he was good. I feel like most people thought he was a mid-tier quarterback, but then he just like kept winning. Everyone thought Peyton Manning was better, but Peyton Manning just never won that much. And then for me, I didn't even think Brady was that good until he came back in his 40s and won again. Then I was like, this guy's the GOAT. Like, there's no question. He's insane. That's never been done before. But when he actually played, like he doesn't look that good. He's not that fast. He doesn't throw the best. Like there was literally everyone thought that Peyton Manning was better. I don't think it was like that though during Jordan. Like when Jordan was playing, everyone thought Jordan was the best for the most part. But with Brady, I feel like nobody thought that until after. And then they were like, wait a second, how many did he just win? Like, dang, I guess I can't say he sucks anymore because he's not doing anything. He's not doing anything that crazy. But I don't know. Your team does matter a little bit too. Like there is an element of that. Like, you can't win it by yourself. So the coach, the team. I think football is more coach driven than basketball. Like basketball, you can like coach players, but at the same time, like not that much. Football, you call every play. And then the defense, you're not on the field half the time. So I feel like that there's a huge element of like team in football. But also if you're a really good quarterback, like Peyton Manning used to audible all the time. Like the coach would call the play, but then he'd look at the field and like recall it. Like he was super sick. I think Tom Brady was smart too, but yeah, I don't know. Football, I feel like I don't know. I've never really played a sport where I'm off the field like half the time. Yes, you matter, obviously, but what can you really do when you're not on the field? Like in basketball, you could pretty much, like, Jordan got to play offense and defense. LeBron could play offense and defense. Football, you're just like waiting to see if somebody else messes up. That's crazy. Um, Patriots cheat. The deflate thing was pretty corny. I'm a Giants fan, so I didn't like the Patriots ever. I actually despise them. But we beat them twice with Eli. That was pretty sick. Is Aaron Rodgers playing? Yeah, he's playing with the Steelers one more season, I think. I root for Aaron Rodgers because he didn't get the vaccine and he, is honest about it. So that, I always hope he does well. We'll see. I don't think his team is super great this year, but Omaha, yeah, exactly. Real ones know. Peyton Manning was Omahaing a lot. Omaha, Omaha. Huge difference between using platform and pushing a narrative. They pay. Are you still talking about George Carlin? All right, we're on to sports. Someone said Peyton was like an offensive coordinator on the field because he had the whole playbook. I low key think Peyton was better than Tom Brady, but I can't really say that. Like the same way I made fun of people with like LeBron, and I was like, oh, people think LeBron's better than Jordan. I'm kind of that guy with Peyton. Like I kind of think Peyton Manning was way better than Tom Brady, but he did win more, So I think the stats and like the greatness proves itself. At the end of the day, I think Peyton was better, but he just didn't win. So Tom Brady's just a sleeper. He's not that fast. He can't throw that far, and he's not like the greatest at anything, but low key, he just put it all together. Djokovic, yeah, but Djokovic is actually sick too. Tom Brady looks so slow out there. I'm not saying same with Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning couldn't I'm like, how are you so athletic but so slow? Maybe they weren't slow. Maybe just everyone else is just so fast. I can't really tell. But when Peyton Manning used to run or Tom Brady used to run, it looked like they crapped their pants and they're like trying to just get to the bathroom. I was like, bro, you guys can't run faster than that. But Randy Moss deserves more. I feel like everybody considers him like the second best receiver of all time. I think everybody thinks Jerry Rice is number one, but Moss, especially like my generation, knows Moss. I don't know what the kids are up to these days, but I to be honest, I watch a lot of like sports stuff in my spare time. I like sports. I feel like all the people on YouTube, they all think Randy Moss was amazing. Like most of the the guys that do like football podcasts and like reels, they know old school people. Someone said Peyton's the regular season GOAT. Brady's the Tel Aviv GOAT. Dude, Patriots, Mr. Kraft, Epstein class. Someone said, dude, if you follow Tom Brady, like he's always posting with the guy who runs Fanatics. His name is like Michael Rubin. He's like, I'm at the white party with Michael Rubin. I'm hanging out with Michael Rubin. And Tom Brady's always like smiling. And Michael Rubin's always like, it's, I don't know. No comment. All right, I gotta go to bed. It's weird because like I would assume people would be tuning out to my live streams because I'm just talking about sports, but I just keep getting more people watching, and I'm like, the show must go on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna leave a crowded room. I think, but I put it on Twitter today. I think we got like 352 people, which is good for this time of night. I don't know. I wasn't really expecting much. I just was like, yeah, I'm talking to myself in my room. I might as well. Instead of being a schizo, I should just like have a conversation with the camera, and then my mental illness becomes a job, So I was like, let's cash out on this stuff. But no, I was very passionate about the bill. Jokes aside. Moss would change the whole game. No, Moss is top 3 receivers ever for sure. Someone said he bought out the Fanatics in Jacksonville, Florida, the first NFL shop. That guy is running everything, but I just the vibe of that guy just kind of like weirds me out. He just never seems happy. Like I don't know the Rubin guy, but his company seems to be doing great. Because we're online, we're homies. That's how it works for sure. There's somebody was it Larry Fitzgerald or Calvin Johnson that they had less drops than something. I don't know. Let me look it up. Who had less drops than NFL receiver. There's some crazy stat. I want to see who it is. Larry Fitzgerald has more tackles than career drop passes. He had 41 tackles, meaning like when the quarterback threw an interception, he tackled them, and he only dropped the ball 29 times. That's an insane stat. I feel like that's insane. I don't know. For me, like Jerry Rice is number one, then Randy Moss. I feel like Calvin Johnson and Fitzgerald were insane. I feel like in their primes, they were ridiculous. Someone mentioned Antonio Brown. He was sick too. But just not like dropping the ball less times than tackles, that's insane. That's such a sick stat. Jason Witten is nowhere near my top anything, but he was cool. He was good, but I don't think he's even a top 10 receiver, tight end. Tight ends, I feel like Antonio Gates was so good. No, real ones don't. I mean, the real ones remember, but nobody seems to remember. Like online, nobody's talking about Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez were like the best tight ends. And recently, you have like whatever Travis Kelce and Gronkowski was sick, but like Antonio Gates back in the day was insane. Jason Witten is not even top 15. Sorry, not even top 20, but. Maybe one day I'll start a sports podcast and, I'd have to talk politics at a certain point. Then I'd get fired. I heard ESPN let go of Ryan Clark. Yo, he's so annoying. Okay, my two least favorite people in like sports radio, Ryan Clark, he's so annoying. I'm not glad he got fired, but I'm not watching. Anytime I click on, I don't even watch ESPN at all. They got the worst people, but I click on ESPN. There's always one of two people there. It's either Ryan Clark or Kendrick Perkins, and they're both annoying. Like instant turn off anytime I turn that on. Like I'll turn to anything else. I never watch ESPN stuff. So like it's whatever ESPN wants for its business, that's on you. But if I hear like Ryan Clark, he's like, oh, well, I'm really, he's like kind of like a libtard and annoying and cringy. And then Kendrick Perkins just talks so slow and just like it just sounds like he's trying to like read a book. And I'm not trying to be rude and I don't want him to fight me because he looks like he's 7 foot tall, but he's like, the ball goes in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, I can't do it, dude. Like, and he's just I don't know. Do you guys, am I tripping or are they the worst? No, he talks like I can't believe they gave him a job in broadcasting. Like I'm glad it's nice and it's always nice to like do what people want, but I don't know. No comment. I've said enough. Aaron Hernandez, he was good before he went insane. It's because he's from Texas. I mean, I've heard people from Texas that talk slow, but not like Kendrick Perkins. Like I like slow talking. Like slow talking can be charming, and you know what I'm saying? It's not like everyone needs to talk fast like Ben Shapiro. It's not that Kendrick's talking slow as much as he's just like, I throw ball in net, let good dot. And they're like, is this guy really a broadcaster? Like it's not for me. Yo, Ryan, I'm glad everybody doesn't like the Ryan Clark thing. Not that I want people to not like him, but I can't. Ryan Clark is so annoying. He's just like sneaky and like liberally and like all his takes are weird and the way he talks is annoying. Like there's just nothing I like about him. So I feel like a big hater now. I don't like to be this big of a hater on like just random sports guys, but it's like here's some random lesbian and Kendrick Perkins to talk about the Golden State Warriors. And I'm like, ugh. I end up just watching some random dudes that are like messing around in their house. Like most of the people I watch are not even known people. Like they probably don't even know who I am. And I type comments all the time. I'm like a fan and they probably are like, who the fuck is this guy? But excuse my language. I just like random people. Like, I don't know. They don't even have a lot of followers or anything. They're playing like little Madden games and stuff, trying to like play just like sports games that they do like trivia. And I like that so much more than like Ryan Clark and ESPN and all those people because it's just so cringe. I like to give a shot to the up and comers, because also too, like normal people just messing around with this stuff or doing their podcasts, they're just like normal, they're not like weird or fake about it. Ryan Clark reminds you of Van Jones. He does kind of have a Van Jones vibe. Whatever happened to Van Jones? Like he was like a real thing for a while. He was like crying. He's like, I can't believe this is happening. And then he's like, but I'm reasonable. That's my Van Jones impression. Okay. He's like, I'm crying because Trump won. I thought it was a democracy for my people, but I'll work with them because I'm the reasonable one at CNN. So if he wants to do prison reform, then count me in. But I'm going to cry next week. It's like, okay. And then like Anderson Cooper is just like getting drunk on New Year's. He's like, oh, toodle me do. Oh, welcome to the New Year's on CNN. He's like, oh, that's a lot of alcohol for me. You're like, I think it was like Anderson Cooper and Dave Chappelle. I was like, pass. Is anybody old enough to remember when Sinbad did something on New Year's? Okay, like, I don't know if my parents didn't like me this year, but like usually you watch like the ball drop with, was it Dick Van Dyke or somebody like that? I don't even remember, but the ball drop was what like normal people would watch. But for some reason, like, when everybody's watching the ball drop on New Year's, everyone watches the one channel. So other channels started getting smart and trying to compete with the ball drop. So on another channel, I'm not even kidding, dude. I'm so excited to even say this. They were trying to compete with the ball. So they were like, Sinbad's going to implode an old hotel on on some bum ass network that's not CNN or CBS or one of the main things. And like, I don't know why, but I'm at my family's house and they're watching like Sinbad. And I'm like, yo, I want to watch the ball drop. I don't want to watch Sinbad blow up a hotel. Like that's for brokies. You know what I'm saying? That's for families that don't love their kids. Like you watch that. Like I want to watch the ball drop like a patriotic American that, you know what I'm saying, that believes in something. Dick Clark. Yeah, it wasn't Dick Van Dyke. It was Dick Clark. That's who did the ball drop. Am I making this up? It's another Shazam thing, dude. It is a Mandela effect. I'm gonna find it. I don't want to play because it'll get copyright stricken, but I need to know if this even happened or not. But I swear one year they were like, you don't want to watch the ball drop. You want to watch Sinbad blow up a hotel, implode an old hotel. And I was like, why would anyone want? But then of course, like my family was like, I don't know. That sounds pretty cool. Like, we've seen the ball drop a lot. We've never seen Sinbad like implode an old hotel. And I'm like, that's like Christmas just being like, we don't want to do a Christmas tree this year. We want to do an apple tree because we saw it on Bravo TV. And I'm like 12 years old. I'm like, I'm about tradition here. I want to watch the ball drop with Dick Clark. Not freaking. Okay. Let me ask AI. Which year on New Year's Eve did Sinbad implode? It's going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? An old hotel to compete with a network that did the ball drop. All right, I'm nervous because it might come back and be like, bro, that never happened. And then I'm going to freak out because the Shazam Mandela effect where they said like, oh, Shaq had a movie. I'm a Shaq fan and I'm a big, as you know, Sinbad fan. One of my favorite Christmas movies is Sinbad and Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's Jingle All the Way. I love that movie. I watched it. I try to make my family watch it every year. Watch Jingle All the Way. It's a great movie. If you don't think so, you're just wrong. It's better than you remember it being. But anyway, there was a Shaq movie, but it was a different movie. Shazam was always Sinbad. And I think people are just being racist because they just think all black people look the same. So like, oh, Shaq and Sinbad. I'm like, I'm a fan of both of those African-American males. And it was Sinbad. That's what I think it is. Everybody remembers it being Shaq because they're racist and they think all black guys look the same. And they just don't want to they don't want to give props to Sinbad. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, like Shaq's in this commercial, Radio Shack, Shaq. Everything's about Shaq. People, you bring up Sinbad at a party. Who's Sinbad? Who is that? And I'm like, are you serious? Are you about to disrespect Sinbad in front of me right now at this party? And then I go off and I start listing his resume. I'm like, Jingle All the Way, imploding a hotel, possibly on New Year's, possibly, maybe, imploding an old hotel. Jingle All the Way, Kazam. I start going down all the list of like his movies, and that's really, I don't know. Okay, I found it. Okay, I'm not hallucinating. Oh my gosh, no way. I was 7 years old. Am I doing the math right? Yeah, guys, I was 7 or 8 years old when this happened. How do I remember that? I'm a genius. No, I'm just kidding. But Sinbad hosted Fox's Sinbad's Dynamite New Year's Eve special in 1996, also called Sinbad's Dynamite New Year's Eve 1996. You just said that twice, which competed with traditional ball drop coverage on other networks. The show featured live performances and reports from Las Vegas, culminating in the televised implosion of the historic Hacienda Hotel, a Las Vegas landmark, right around midnight. Sinbad also was there with Hootie and the Blowfish. What? Was this the greatest New Year's of my life? I love Hootie and the Blowfish. And the implosion drew crowds and media attention. Dude, this is so sick. You see, does anybody remember that? Hootie and the Blowfish, Sinbad imploding an old Vegas hotel that needed to be imploded for some reason by Sinbad and Hootie and the Blowfish. That's like the greatest day of my life. I'm nostalgic. It's never going to get as good as that. Doobie Brothers were there. Salt and Pepper, Siegfried and Roy. Is that true? I didn't see that in my thing. Let's see. Who else performed? Dude. Life peaked at that moment. It's just been downhill for me since then. Who else performed there? I'm sure you're right, but I need to verify. Yep. Hootie and the Blowfish, the Doobie Brothers, banger. Salt and Pepper, Cirque du Soleil, Siegfried and Roy. Was that before Siegfried got bit or something? When did the tiger bite one of them? I remember that happened. That was a bad day for me. I took that. 2003. That was way later. I took that bad. They were like, my mom was like, remember those guys you saw on the TV? I was like, yeah. Remember Siegfried and Roy? Yeah. One of them got bit by the tiger. I was like, oh my gosh. Did he die? I don't remember anything. I got to read. Did he die or not? Did Siegfried or Roy get bit? Did he die from it? Dude, Siegfried and Roy got all the women, dude. They just dressed up like they were like the Bee Gees, and they were like, hey, I have a tiger. And it was like, all right, relax. Save some for the rest of us. Roy was bitten by a tiger, but he did not die from it. Okay, that's good. Oh, he suffered a stroke, a severe spine, crushed windpipe, part paralysis, and permanent motor speech implants. He was critically injured and nearly died. Oh my gosh. The tiger bit his jugular vein. That's freaking so scary. Okay. It was bad. He didn't die, but he lost a lot that day. My gosh. Yeah, I didn't take that news well. I was like, well, there goes my dream of being him. I wanted to be him because it looked cool. I could sit here for hours talking about the 90s, and I probably would, but I got to go to bed. So I appreciate y'all. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless Roy Horn and Siegfried and anybody and Sinbad. I'm a huge, it's not that I'm like the biggest Sinbad fan, but I feel like he's underrated. He plays the mailman in Jingle All the Way. Peak performance. Like, you got him. You got Arnold Schwarzenegger, 10 out of 10 acting experience. Put the cookie down now. He's just yelling like he's like, oh, poor baby. Classic 10 out of 10. Sinbad, 10 out of 10. I don't understand how they didn't win 15 Oscars for that movie. That's the greatest movie ever. There's the guy who got killed by his wife. Who was the Ted in Jingle All the Way? I think this guy got killed by his wife. Phil Hartman. Did he get killed by his wife. Phil Hartman was tragically murdered by his wife in a murder-suicide. Yeah, that sucks. Wow, that happened in 1998, 2 years before Jingle All the Way. 2 years after Jingle All the Way. That wretched woman, that evil wench, almost took away one of my favorite movies by being selfish like that. That's crazy. Um, Someone said, "God bless Roy Cohn. I taught Trump how to tan and dance at Studio 54." You're just making that up, but that's funny. No, Jingle All the Way does hold up. I'm telling, if you're sitting here watching this being like, "Is that even that good of a movie?" Every year I watch Jingle All the Way, I'm just reminded like there's so many different moments in it. It's like watching Da Vinci in his prime. I'm just like, they got the midgets part where there's a bunch of like fake Santa midgets. They're just like have a fight scene randomly at a toy store. Sinbad gives a 10 out of 10 performance because he's real and people just don't like him because they think he's Shaq. Arnold just crushes it. Phil Hartman is classic. He's like the weird neighbor who's trying to hit on everybody's wife and stuff. It's just so good. Like it's unreal. Like I don't want to rush ahead because I don't want this year to go any faster because I'm getting older and I don't know. Like I don't need that to go any faster at this point. But I'm excited for Christmas. Maybe I'll just make my family watch Jingle All the Way in July. They're like, "Do we have to do this right now?" It's gotten in your Christmas rotation as it should. Someone said Turbo Man. Absolutely. Arnold is a super chat in that movie, but it's just so good. Jamie, Dad? He like doesn't realize it's him. It's like who else has a German accent in your town? Like he's like has a mask covering his eyes and he's like, "It's turbo time." And his son doesn't know it's him. And then he's like, "Jamie, Dad?" It's like, bro, you had to know that was him. There's no one else that even like everyone in that town speaks perfect English. This was before mass migration. Arnold was the foreigner at this time, a white German who's like, "Pump me up," and everyone was like, "Oh, he's cool." He was like the only one who could like barely speak English in the whole town, but somehow nobody could decipher that. They're like, it could have been anybody with this thick German, Bundesliga accent or something. It's like, yeah, dude, who could it possibly be? You just have to ignore that though and have fun. Jingle All the Way is not seasonal specific. That's how good it is, bro. It's a top. Like I'm tired of all these people online disrespecting it. Dude, I'm gonna start like a protest or an organization dedicated to defending this movie and Sinbad, because everyone, like, no one talks about it. They're like, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Who cares, bro? It doesn't matter. Yes, no, it doesn't matter. Who cares? And they're like, like everyone says every movie, but they never say Jingle All the Way. It is the most disrespected. Someone said so corny. It's not corny though. That's the thing. It's just fun. It's just no one like put some respect on that. It's kind of like it would be like I'm trying to think in like NBA terms or something. Like it to me, it would be like trying to pretend like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was never good. You're like, what are you talking about? It's just disrespectful. So I need to make up for that. Super chat $30. He said, "I enjoy the late night stream. Talk about our old times. Thank you. I hope you do it more often." Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. I love the end of all my live streams. It's my favorite part. I like the beginning too, but it's fun locking in. It was always Christmas at Studio 54. Sinbad had a couple stand-up shows that were good too. Well, that's what I'm going to do this week is watch some Sinbad because I know he was a comedian. That's how he got famous. I'd assume he's funny. I've never seen Bad Santa. Blank Check I forget that movie. I need to rewatch that, but I did like that growing up. He gets the Mexican turbo doll. Oh yeah, he does. And it's like it's speaking Spanish and he gets mad. That's when he starts beating up all the midgets at the like the fake Santa factory because they gave him the Mexican Turbo Man. He's like, "No, that one's fine. Your kid will love it." He's like, dude, he throws the one midget. Like nowadays, they wouldn't even let that happen. Like they don't even want midgets to work anymore. They're like, it's racist. And they're like, "What are you talking about? I'm like 3 foot tall and I'm white." They're like, "But still, we don't want we don't want heightism to get into the movies. They didn't let the midgets play the dwarves. And listen, my algorithm is so messed up, and I'm so locked into like everything that doesn't matter, that I've watched multiple podcasts of one of the dwarves who doesn't like the Peter Dinklage, because Peter Dinklage was like, I'm above being Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And all the other dwarves in Hollywood were like, bro, we don't have a lot of roles. This is like the perfect role for a dwarf. 7 of us could get jobs and be famous. And they didn't let, like, I think Peter Dinklage like didn't allow, like he like flexed on Hollywood and was like, that's below us. And all the other dwarves are now like, fuck Peter Dinklage, because they didn't get to be in the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. So now you just learn more about dwarves than you ever wanted to know, because for some reason I know that. Back to Jingle All the Way. There are a lot of dwarves in that movie, and like you just don't see that anymore. You don't get to see the dwarves. That's what I want. I want Sinbad. I want dwarves. I want a German guy in a town with a bunch of white people that don't know that he's Turbo Man, even though he's the only one that has that like accent. They made like Sinbad like a little bit ghetto, and then at the end, like, you know, he like was going to jail. That, you know, these are like subtly semi-racist, not really racist tones that you're just not going to see anymore. You know, everyone's going to complain, but it's like, can we just have a classic movie with like 30 midgets getting thrown across into poles and stuff? Like at one point, Arnold picks up one of the dwarves and just like hits the other dwarf and like throws him across the thing, and he's like, ah, and he hits a pole. Like, this is what it was about in the 90s. You know, we can't get dwarves getting thrown into poles anymore in Hollywood. And if you can't get a dwarf thrown into a pole in Hollywood, what can you really get? Like, what do we get? Zendaya. Who is Zendaya? Where did she come from? When did she become the thing that everyone want to see? I don't want to see her. No offense to Zendaya, but you don't really look like Snow White to me. But I'm not the target audience because I don't really watch Snow White like that anyway. So someone might want that. I want to see like Shia LaBeouf like wasted. You know what I'm saying? Like let him be a dwarf or something. If I can't get a real dwarf, at least like put Shia LaBeouf on his knees and like, you know, make him wasted, and then like let him pretend to be really small. Now that's good entertainment. See, let me have a budget. I'll fix this stuff. Instead of Zendaya, we're going to put Caitlin Clark as Snow White, you know, because I want to get the whites on my side. I want to get the Christians on my side, conservatives, the WNBA crowd doesn't really matter to me, but I want to make it like a racial thing. So I want to be like, we don't want Zendaya anymore as Snow White. We have Caitlin Clark. We have our own whites to play. And it's going to like blow people's minds because they're going to be like, that's racist. What the hell? It's Caitlin Clark. She's a basketball player. She's not even an actress. And then we'll get like Angel Reese to play the villain, and then also Zendaya. I'll be like, you can be in the film, but you have to be like a midget in the film. And they're like, why does she have to be the midget? I don't know, because I said so. So, you know, I already have it. Caitlin Clark can be Snow White. The witch could be Angel Reese. Just not that I think Angel Reese is a witch. I think she's a good rebounder, but you know, we need to create racial tension in Hollywood in order to drive sales, because the whole like no midgets Zendaya thing, it's just not working. Because also Zendaya's like, she looks a little mixed, you know, she's like what is she? Like, we need one of each, and then we need a mixed. Maybe we could have a mixed girl in the middle, just trying to figure out which one she is. You know what I'm saying? I'm locked in. So if there's any like investors here, anybody with a lot of money, maybe like any connections in Hollywood, if you need any direction on any film, I'm here. Let me think of another one I'd do. If I could make let's take like Batman, like a new Batman, but Shia LaBeouf drunk and like on drugs. Not that he needs to do drugs, but he seems like he's kind of a mess. Like, I'd like to see him just mess around. Maybe like Mel Gibson, but like, you know, have Kanye West like write his lyrics, write his lines. They're like, why is Batman talking about 109 countries? And I'm just like, I don't know. anybody. It could be for any. I don't know. Just I don't know how that got in there. Someone said, "Say the word." You got money like that? You want to start? You want to start something? Because what's like the popular conservative thing that they have? It's like something pictures. Like they're like, look, something Caviezel is like Jesus or something. I don't know what they're called, but there's like one conservative production studio. Why is Batman just doing anti-Semitic rants the whole time? He's not even stopping crime. He's just sitting, like in his room making like TikToks. I'm like, I don't know. Swing and a miss, I guess. I just tried to make it modern and, a little bit. You want to give both sides something. You need someone to love and someone to hate. They said that, oh yeah, Angel Studios, that's what it's called. They said that even Elvis's manager would sell "I love Elvis" and "I hate Elvis" pins. You know what I'm saying? He monetized both sides. He's like, as long as you feel something, I got a deal for you to be made. So we'll do what we got to do. Angel is Mormon. Yeah, I don't know what they're up to, but they did like the one movie, and everyone's like, "You gotta see it. It's about human trafficking." And I was like, "I don't want to see it." And they're like, "You gotta see it." I was like, "Is it good?" They're like, "Not really," but it's like made me cry. And I was like, if it's not Jingle All the Way, if it's not funny, like Judd Apatow movies in their prime before he got annoying, like why do I want to go? Like I know human trafficking is bad. I know bad things happen in other countries and stuff and here, but like why do I need to go see a movie about it? Not that it's bad to make a movie about it. I guess I just like funny movies. I'm not like a sad movie guy. Like I don't like I want to go feel sad. I was like, I don't like scary movies. I don't like sad movies. I like Christmas movies. I like action movies. I like comedies more than action, to be honest. And also, I'm not saying this is why they made that human trafficking movie, but I felt like it was like this is what's happening in other countries, and I do think like actual human trafficking where they're like stealing girls happens more in other countries. Not that it doesn't happen here, but I do think there's other countries where it does happen a lot. But like the timing of it just felt like, man, that's crazy. It's happening over there. And it's like the whole like Epstein thing was happening here, but it almost made it feel like, oh, it's happening there. That's there. And it's like, I don't know. Not that it's not happening there, but something about it, I was just like, I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, like that. It's not to say you can't make a movie about that. It's just not one I'm gonna like jump to go watch. Someone said it was that movie was a theatrical limited hangout. That's what I felt like. I'm not saying it was. I'm not saying I could prove it was, but it did feel like something like when Trump was like the election was stolen from China and leftism comes from Cuba. It's like leftism is the main culprit of pushing leftism in America over the last 100 years is Cuba. Like that's embarrassing. Do I like X-Men? I used to like it, but my favorite thing when I was younger is this X-Men game. Like there was this like game I could play. It was like with joysticks and stuff when you went to like random places and they had like those arcade level games, the X-Men games. That was fire. I watched the show a little bit, but I never watched the movies. Like I haven't seen like any of the Marvel movies. I haven't seen X-Men. I don't really watch movies anymore. Like I don't know if I'm too hipster or whatever, but it's been so long since I've seen a movie. Like I haven't seen any of the Marvel movies, like literally none of them. I've never seen Iron Man. I've never seen Avengers or whatever. I don't know what's going on. I'm sure some of them are good. Someone said, "I love how you always say you're going to leave in 30 minutes." Oh, I have to show you guys this video that someone made. I think we need to like end on this note too, by the way, but let me find it. Hold on. This lovely lady, someone who watches the show a lot, she made a video and like tagged me on Instagram, and I was like, she was basically like trolling how I always say I'm going to leave in 30 minutes and I never do. I might have to just keep this loaded and play it all the time. But all right, ready? She put this on her Insta, and I was like, wow, this is the greatest thing anyone's ever made of me. Here's her video she made of my last like 4-hour live show. That's pretty much my show. I'm gonna keep this one under 40 minutes, I think. So let's make it a good 10 minutes if we want.
4 hours later.
All right, I need to eat dinner before it gets too late. I appreciate y'all. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. I said that earlier. I ranted more, but I'm glad we did. This was a great stream. You know, for the real ones,
A few moments later.
Appreciate you guys. God bless you. I'm out. Thank you for the Power Hour live stream. I'm gonna put this on Spotify and Apple whatever later, and hopefully people like it. But you had to be here to really understand it. But there's some gems. Yeah. She made this on Instagram and like tagged me in it. I was like, yo, that's so good. Because I that's like, if there's one thing that I'm horrible with, and I definitely am like dishonest with, is when I say I'm gonna leave. I think I'm literally the worst. I might be in like the top 10 worst in all of podcasting. Like I think it would be shocking to me if there's anybody worse at that than me, where I'm like, yo, I'm only gonna be here for 40 minutes. And then like, you know, I hit like an hour and I'm like, all right, this is kind of fun. We start talking about Sinbad for 5 hours straight. Next thing you know, it's like 3 hours. And once you're 3 hours deep, like what's another hour? So I'm always like, yo, I'm gonna make this one really short today. Why do I even say that? That's what I would need to understand. Like, why even say that if I know I do that wrong I know I do that wrong. Everyone who likes my show knows I do that wrong. People who watch all the time, like no one doesn't know I'm going to do that, but for some reason I keep doing it. Like I keep saying like, you know, I'm only going to be here because I think I was really ready to like shut it down. But then I got a second wind and I hit I'm very like OCD about like the numbers of it. Like if I want to keep it under an hour and it's like 57, 58 or like, oh, I'm going to shut it off at like 40 minutes. I'm set on it. But if I look away and start talking to you guys like this and I don't look at it and then it gets past the number I thought it was going to be, it's almost like I don't care anymore. I was like, oh, I said 40 and it's 50. Now I have to go 4 hours. Like there's something wrong with me, but yeah. I'm going to try to never say I'm only going to be here for a few minutes again. What I'm going to say next time is I might keep this one short, but there's always a large possibility that I stay for a really long time because that seems to be what always happens. So I feel like that's the smartest thing to do is like be like, I might not be here for that long on this live stream, but there's always the chance that I am here for a really long time. Yeah, no, that's edit is goated. So shout out to, you know, she knows who made it, but I tagged her on Instagram. I don't know if she wants all the attention, but if she does, I'll give her a shout out and say her name on Insta sometime, but we'll see. 4 hours later. I love that thing from SpongeBob. You know, that's another great show. Like the early SpongeBob, you have to be like really weird to make that show. Like think about, I don't know, like what is it like working at Nickelodeon? Like besides all the weird stuff that was going on, but you know, it's like I got this show. It's gonna be like a sponge. His name's gonna be SpongeBob SquarePants. His pants are gonna be square. They live in an ocean, but he lives in a pineapple. They're like, why does he live in a pineapple? He just does. But hear me out. He has a really dumb neighbor named Patrick Starfish, lives in a rock. And then there's Squidward, who's a squid who plays the clarinet, who lives in like a Easter Island head. And then there's a squirrel named Sandy, who's actually from Texas, and she lives in a dome. And then he has a snail. And then we're gonna do like, how do you even think of that? You have to be really creative or on drugs or something. Like I don't think these thoughts just randomly come to people, but I hope they do. And then the way it was executed, like the voice, new SpongeBob is weird because it's all like very bizarre now. They've just dragged it on for too long. Old SpongeBob, someone said, Hanoi Manoi. Yeah, like there's so many little weird, quirky moments that I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember everything. Someone made a video on Instagram where it was like the top 5 songs from SpongeBob, and it was like the Rip Pants song. I knew every lyric. I haven't heard it in 20 years, but I remember every aspect of it. Like I remember every inside joke. I like everything from SpongeBob. I remember all of it from the first 2 seasons. I remember the Krusty Krab pizza song. I still to this day sing the Sandy Cheek song sometimes, like the Texas song. It was like, wish I was back in Texas. The ocean's no place for a squirrel. Wish I was in Texas, the prettiest place in the world. It's a great Texas song, and it was sung by a squirrel in a cartoon 20 years ago. It's unreal. It's just like, yeah, Gary the snail is fire, but it's just such like to come up with all that weird stuff, but also make it work and make it super funny and like very unique. Like nothing, all the jokes in that we all remember are so random. Like every like the one guy, like Doodle Bob that you were doing that stuff, and he was just saying weird stuff. It could have easily just not worked and not been funny at all, and they could have aired it. There were a lot of like cartoons that are not that good. I'm not gonna name names because you might get offended, but you know the ones that they like put out and they never like they were just okay. But SpongeBob was like everything just worked perfectly. I love it. The Krusty Krab, yeah, yeah. Pizza is that like that season banger. Someone said you found a new career. I'm a multi-talented person, I just like maybe I should do other things more and maybe someone will see me and be like, "Hey, I'll let you make a television." No, I'm just kidding. But I don't know. I know you weren't talking about my singing skills, but maybe one day I'll just talk about 90s shows and sports. That would be way more fun, but like when I looked at the NDAA bill today, I don't get annoyed that much anymore by politics because I've just seen it all. But today I was like these, but I don't want to feel like that. But I also don't want to just be a furry and ignore everything and be like, I live in a costume. There's got to be a balance. This is our balance. This is our balance. We had a very serious live stream and now we're having fun. Plankton just be talking that shit. Dude, Plankton is like, he's devious. Yeah, like the chum bucket just never had good stuff. Mrs. Puff, like, dude, Mrs. Puff reminds me of my rest in peace to Miss Caraher. She reminds me of my chorus teacher. Like, I did chorus in middle school, and it just reminds me of Mrs. Puff. She'd be like, boys, like she had like a choir voice, and she was just like a puffer fish or like I don't know. I swear Miss Puff was like my choir teacher. Like literally talked like that, acted like that. It's like so relatable to me somehow. Someone said my kids love SpongeBob, the music specifically. We're a niche fan. The music is so good. Like it's unreal. The Texas song, I have it stuck in my head and I sing it randomly. Like the ocean's no place for a squirrel. It's so good. And every song is like all the songs in that show are just bangers. I'm trying to think of like the top 10 list that the guy made. It's unreal though. One day you could be the next president billionaire. Let's start a crypto scam, right? We can do a anomaly coin. Then I'll be a billionaire. Then I'll use that money to buy things for myself and then take money from billionaires. And then I'll, do whatever Israel wants. I mean, the lobbyists want. U is for uranium bomb. Oh yeah. It was like they're singing the Friends song. It's like F is for friends that are always together. U is for you and me. And is for anything, anytime at all. Herein. And then they're like, Plankton, you try it. What does he say P is? Like Plankton's like the evil Plankton. And then he's like, U is uranium bomb. They're like, no. Oh man, that's so good. I forget that. N is for no survivors. And they cut him off. Dude, that's so funny. Yeah. What did he say F is for? Like, someone say, yeah, he said U is for uranium bomb and it's for no survivors. That's so funny. Like, someone needs to tell me before I search it. I gotta know now. F is for What does plankton say? I know someone here knows. Isn't it crazy how that's so random, but like I bet like 20 people know? It's crazy. Um Oh, yeah. That's what it is, dude. He said F is for fire that burns down the whole town. U is for uranium. Bob. N is for no survive. Plankton, no. Oh, why is it so good? It's so good. I feel like half of us, like on Instagram, I just get caught in like a nostalgia loop. They're like, remember this game? I'm like, yes. And then I just stare at it for 30 minutes. I think they should play the song every time Trump and BB get together, dude. They're definitely plankton out. They're like, "F is for fire that burns down the." Definitely, BB is plankton for sure. He's just like he's done all of those things to real people, which is oh dang, dude. The SpongeBob they just kicked me off. The SpongeBob Industrial Complex doesn't want me here talking about this stuff, dude. The deep state, they hate when I talk about SpongeBob, dude. Trust me. The Israel lobby, once they see us having fun with SpongeBob, they don't like that. They don't mind when I talk about lobbyists. They don't mind when I make videos talking about lockdowns. They don't mind when I question the war. But when you talk about SpongeBob, when you bring pure joy to the people, they see that and then they cut my internet connection. So I'm just saying, let's just say we're onto something. We're hot on the trail. Any day now, we're gonna solve this mystery for sure. So just lock in, boys and girls. We're almost there. I need to go to bed, like literally at this point. I appreciate it. I'm hungry, but I'm gonna not eat. I've been not that I'm fat, but I've been losing weight. I started like actually eating good food and trying to get like pre-made meals that are not terrible. Cause I guess I was just eating, I wouldn't say too much, but like I'm not counting calories and I'm just like eating whatever, assuming that it's healthy, but literally nothing in this world is healthy anymore. So I was like I'm like 6'3", so I was like most of my life, I was like 180, 190, whatever, but I was skinny. But then when I started like building muscle, I was like 190, 200. But then like I hit like 212 and then I literally will like work out, play sports, and I never go lower than 212. And I'm like, it's not that it's that big, but I'm like, all right, I want to like actually see if I can I don't know, eat healthier and feel better or whatever. And then like I've been just counting calories, not like obsessively, but just eating like pre-made, actually healthy meals that aren't like made of like fake healthy and made of shit or something. And I think it's been like 3 days, and I went from like 212 and a half to like 207. And like tomorrow I'm going to be like 205 probably. So I don't want to get that skinny or anything, but I just want to get down to like 200 or below and then work out and then figure out like, am I getting over 200 because I'm strong or because I'm fat? You know, like sometimes I can't tell the difference because I work out and play sports a lot. So like I have strong legs, but I'm not fat, but I'm like, there is fat there, you know? It's not like I'm not as I don't know. I like couldn't figure it out. But when I started eating healthy, I was like, oh, I gotta do this more. And it tastes good too. So I think I'm gonna not eat tonight to try to wake up and be like 205, but I'm gonna get below 200. I thought it was literally impossible. I was just like, everything I was eating was just fake healthy, or I was just overeating or something, or both. I don't really know. Julia said, speaking of SpongeBob, whatever happened to Star Like Patrick song? Did I have a song? You got to remind me. I can't remember if I did I have something like that, or I usually remember a lot, but you got to let me know if that was something I said I was going to do, because I'm blanking on it. Thanks for super chat though. Start fasting strategically. I'll fast. I did fast before, but I think just eating just eating a little better. I would get things from other places just assuming that they were healthy, but a lot of places aren't. And when I eat like these little meals that I make, you know, it'll be like 400, 500 calories, but it's pretty filling. And I think like in America, they just give you like 1,000 calories and everything. Like even if you're eating something healthy, you might be eating like 1,200 calories or whatever. And then it's like if you eat like 3 times a day, it's like 3,000. I'm eating like 1,500 to less than 2,000 calories a day, and I'm not even hungry. Like I thought I was going to be super hungry, but it's like when you just eat on certain schedules, it's easy to like kick it really fast. And I've been on like years of not being unhealthy, but just being random, not thinking about it or thinking I was eating something that was healthy, but I'm not like a bodybuilder, so I'm not like I was always like I don't feel like doing that. But then I noticed like, athletes sometimes will have like a chef make stuff for them, and I was like, all right, well, I'm not rich enough to have a chef literally like come over and cook for me, or it's just not a good spend of money right now. Um, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm lazy, but I was like, I don't feel like cooking all this stuff. So I found a way to like get little pre-made ones. Someone said our portions are pretty big in general. I think if you eat like real food, it's a little easier, but I don't know. Everything that I thought I was eating that I thought was real, it's always like mixed with not real stuff. Someone said, "You're 6'3". Why do I keep thinking so many male podcasters are short kings? Ian Carroll's like 6'5". I thought he was like 5'10". Yeah, I've never met Ian in person. I heard he's tall though. Well, when you're sitting down, you don't look tall because you're sitting down. You can't see your legs and stuff. So I don't know. But some people are shorter, some people aren't. I don't really know why. Everybody says to me when they meet me, they're like, "You're taller than I thought you were." Someone said you performed it on IG Live. You said I'm a star like Patrick. Oh, that was probably a lyric in another song. Hold on. What song was that? Let me see. Oh, dude, thank you for reminding me because I gotta figure out what beat that was because I see the lyrics right here and oh yeah, that was a beat. That wasn't like the hook, but that was in the lyrics of a verse. Some guy made me a sick beat and then I rapped it. I just think I recorded it and it didn't come out as good as I thought it was gonna come out, so I just never followed through on it. But I'm reading the lyrics now. I got that's a pretty solid one. Thank you for reminding me, dude. I got so many hidden gems. I just searched in my notes on my computer and I found the entire thing. I'll just have to find the beat for it. Thank you, Julius. You're keeping me up now. All right, we all got to go to bed, but maybe you don't. If maybe you live in like Australia or something, and you're like, I don't have to go to bed, mate. I just woke up. It's like, all right, dude, relax. No, I'm just kidding. But shout out to the 3 people here that may or may not be from Australia. To everyone else, to my fellow Americans, appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I'll try to put it on like Spotify and stuff tomorrow, not today. This was fun, and if does the lighting actually look good? I've been trying to use natural sunlight because like I don't feel like looking at a light all the time, but it'll be good to know if the light does look good because I've been avoiding streaming at night. Tonight I just really wanted to and I was like super in the mood, so I was like, let's do it. I think the lighting looks decent. It looks good, right? I don't know. Yeah. I have a huge ass light. Like it should be good. I'm just not a professional. I think like if I was professional, I'd light this area too and make it like brighter, but I don't really care. Does the sign look straight? Like sometimes it doesn't. Like now to me it looks straight right now, but sometimes I look and it looks curved. It's straight on the wall. It's just the wall is curved, so it's straight, but the camera's not at like a straight angle. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm not gonna move it, but I guess I could move the camera possibly and like tilt it, but lighting is pleasing. Good to know. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I have like a professional light. I just for a long time I didn't know where to put it. Like it's not what I do. I'm not a lighter. I'm not a lighting guy. So I had it like there and I had weird angles, but now it's like right in my face and it's not like too bright because it's like a high powered one. I could make it way brighter. So I think we got the good one. All right. Well, if that's the case, we might be streaming a lot because I get my monetization back on in August. So you know what I'm saying? I might have to stream for shekels. Maybe I'll have a passionate week and I'll just shekel up and just, pop a live stream all the time. But water for the grass. I do it. I give it like bird water. I drink water like this and just like a adult bird to a baby bird. I just spit the water at my wall and hope it doesn't turn into mold. So hopefully, no, I'm just kidding. But appreciate y'all. God bless you. That was fun. I enjoyed it after saying things for an hour that I'm not gonna say I didn't enjoy, but we got some work to do, and It is what it is. Appreciate y'all. All right.